Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Risen Esports Dominate Premade Semifinals matchup between Granterino Appreciation Squad and First Blood Knights. I am your play-by-play Lemons, joined by my good friend Granterino, and we've seen these teams come head-to-head finally in this semifinals matchup, and I am so ready for this best of five.
And I'm so ready to always laugh whenever I say Granterino.
It took a little bit out of me to go through with the whole name. I was just going to say Gas, but you know, you got to give some respect where respect is due. As we are getting through the picks and bans, we do see Varus and Ornn taking off the blue side. Yuumi, Syndra hovered for the second ban here for Gas.
Yep, and actually getting a little bit of confirmation from the players themselves that Ornn is a Maokai. So,
changing up
a top lane tank ban. Yeah, because Maokai has been popping up quite a bit more recently. I mean, Ornn is still the higher priority tank because he just brings all that utility with the team, with the Ornn items, and he just has all that ludicrous damage in lane.
He really does, but you do get to see the Pike coming through as a ban here for FBK. Set was the last ban of the first phase for Gas. Senna, the first pickup here, and that's the first pick I haven't seen in a good little while.
Yeah, because Senna has been repeatedly hit with the nerf bats in the past few patches just due to how pro teams were kind of like abusing her quite a bit, and she was very strong in that situation. But she still is fairly good, and you can pick her. I'm wondering if this is going to be the fasting Senna, or if we're just going to see a normal support Senna here. Though, Gas, they have actually locked in the Nautilus versus the Senna, which is like one of the best counter picks to Senna, since Senna is very slow and stands in place a lot when casting her abilities in autos. I mean, that kind of sets you up for a very easy hook.
Yeah, and pairing up with the Misfortune never feels too bad, as she is just still so strong, and honestly surprised she hasn't gotten more hit with the nerf bat, as you were saying Senna has. But immediately FBK are going to go ahead and lock in their picks here, and they go with the Graves in the jungle and Tahm Kench. So it looks like we are going to get that fasting Senna.
Yeah, although I have actually seen some mid lane Graves recently. Apparently that's been cropping up. I don't know if that's just more of a player pick solo queue thing, or if that is actual pro meta thing. Still though, I mean, Tahm Kench Senna, very classic combo, very hard to actually kill them or get onto them just between the heals, the shields, the peels. All the sustain, it's just very obnoxious for anyone to deal with.
It really is, and The Diana pickup here, I really like for Gas. It's going to provide them a little bit of that extra strength and that pressure to be applied in that mid lane. As we're going to get started with the second phase of bans here, I do expect to see a bit of a focus here on the solo lanes, at least for the side of Gas, as they do go ahead and ban out the Gangplank.
Yep, Gangplank being taken away. Probably just wanted to take away a comfort pick here, that or they have some pick in top lined up that gets hard countered by Gangplank. We'll have to see, but FPK, they are gonna respond with the Mordekaiser ban, so already we have 2 top laners taken off the board in this second ban phase.
We do, and I like to see the Mord taken off because it is such a strong pick, especially going into later parts of the game, and you just get a lot of utility with the Death Realm as well. They are really hammering this top lane picks, as it's looking like it's going to be a Renekton ban here for Gas.
Yep, so very, very hard top lane focus here. It will be, I'm kind of wondering what the pick priority is going to be here, because with all this top lane focus, it makes you think that there might be one top lane champ they want to lock in instantly, and speaking of that, it does look like it's going to be the Ryze. I mean, granted, it might be Diana top, but it is most likely going to be that Ryze here for Gas.
Yeah, and it still is possible. It's definitely not played a lot, but Diana jungle is a thing, and so we might see that. That could go well into the Graves jungle, possibly as well, providing the extra skirmish with him. Can actually work out very strongly in favor of Diana, but Azir gonna be the pickup here, and I love the late game priority picking up with that mid laner.
Because Azir just scales like a monster, we all know it, and has so many flexible ways to play the game, build himself both in runes and items. So it is going to be very interesting to see how this Azir is piloted here for the First Blood Knights, since due to the flexibility, everybody has kind of their own style. And also it is into the Diana, so the Azir can really hard pressure that Diana early on for the most part. Granted, once the Diana hits level 6, gets that ultimate, it does grant a lot more kill pressure, but Azir is always fairly safe thanks to the Shurima Shuffle and thanks to the ultimate.
Yeah, and Silas is the pickup here for First Blood Knights, and a very interesting choice of pickups there in the last phase. I do really like the Azir, but the Silas a little bit more questionable. Can still be really strong. You have a good amount of ultimates that are very, very useful if you steal them. Victor the pickup here for Gas. Heavy AP on that side.
Yeah, and so it does look like it is going to be that Diana jungle that you briefly mentioned could be a possibility, and once the magic resist starts getting built up for First Blood Knights, the team fights will definitely get harder here for Gas. They definitely won't be impossible though. Ryze does scale like a monster, Victor scales fairly hard, Diana scales decently well, and you do still have the misfortune. It's just team fights here for Gas are probably going to be a little janky, since the only real front line you have is a Diana and kind of Nautilus going in.
Yeah, that you're really going to have to rely a lot on that. And honestly, if you do get a couple of these pieces ahead, you can easily snowball the game. You can make them work in your favor to where the magic resist won't really come online enough, or quick enough at least, to really affect the game. But you also look at the other side, and as you mentioned, the scaling, being able to play a little bit defensively, and more than likely it's going to be that fasting Senna, so you're going to be waiting anyways to hit those power spikes. So it's really going to be a different approach by both teams, and both of them do have good sides to it, but both of them do have underlying problems.
Like, for example, First Blood Knights, they don't really have the best of engage here. Their only real solid engage is the Silas stealing a Nautilus ulti or some other ultimate, or an Azir Shurima Shuffle, but that can be fairly hard. So First Blood Knights, they might have a little bit of trouble starting off the fights on their own terms once we get into the mid and later stages of the game when we see 5 versus 5s, but that is something that we won't entirely know until it does come up, Bloomins.
Yeah, very, very true, as we're going to start getting through the actual draft here pretty quickly, but I did want to say that I love this draft going into this series. You're throwing a lot into certain baskets here for both teams, and it's going to make this draft adapt extremely during the rest of the series, and we have a best of 5 ahead of us, so I definitely want to see a lot of adaptation in the drafts. And this is a good jumping off point. At least it seems like they're testing their limits just a little bit, but there is a lot of bright side to these.
Granted, though, the flip side of that is you kind of don't want to be limit testing too hard when it comes to a best of 5 semifinals match, because you limit test a little too hard, you might be down 0-2, and that's not exactly a place where anyone wants to be.
It definitely is. It definitely is. You just try to find avenues for these thought processes, as we are going to see. It looks like, at least, the Silas against the Rise in the top lane, and that one is definitely something I'm gonna have to keep my eye on, because I do feel like it's going to affect the rest of the map, especially if you can get one of them rolling. You can easily transition that pressure into another part of the map if you go with some TPs and being able to make some different plays like that.
Because, I mean, both these teams, they can play the map fairly hard, especially Gas, since they do, of course, have the Realm Warp. They do, of course, have the Nautilus, who's probably going to be building those Moby boots and just doing around the world. But if you look on the other side here, First Blood Knights, I mean, they do have the Senna ultimate, that's global. They do have the Tom Kench ultimate to respond across the map, and then Silas, of course, here, Zamundo, can steal away Benoina's Rise ultimate.
Yeah, he definitely can. Honestly, I'm very, very surprised that Ornn got through this draft, and I definitely think that could be something to look at next time around. I mean, obviously, it's not the Ornn that was banned out, it was the Maokai, so I think that Ornn just provides so much, and could provide so much for both of these teams. If you put an Ornn in the top lane for either of these, Zamundo or Benoina, it would be so effective for the rest of their team. And so that is something I want to keep an eye on. Maybe they're just that strong and they know what they want to play, and this is the strategy they want to go with the AP tops, but we'll have to keep an eye out with the rest of the game and really how this game one dictates the rest of this best of 5.
Just going on a little more into that Ornn point, Ornn, while he would be a great tank and just being able to stack up a ton of magic resist against Gas, or just providing a lot more utility and range in terms of engage for Gas, you do have to look at the team members here that have been, or the champions that have been drafted here for both sides, and wonder, like, what Ornn items are we realistically gonna see without deviating too hard from builds here? Because some of these champions, they might have to, like, do a little bit too wonky of a build in order to get the perfect timing for an Ornn item, so who knows?
Yeah, it's I'm really excited to see what the Silas can do with the ultimates here, because you have a lot of crazy ultimates, a lot of AoE, and then we look at the heavy focus that Dragon has had in League of Legends these days, and how the objectives are so crucial in the pace of the game. And both these teams do have some strengths going into those big team fights, especially looking at Gas's side. They have so much control over one of those pits.
Yeah, because, I mean, with the Chaos Storm, with the Bullet Time, with the Moonfall coming out from Rush High Tempo, there is a lot of setup for Wombo Combo, but we did already mention this before, with the triple AP threat, it does kind of invite that magic resist to start being built up on the side of First Blood Knights, and that can really hinder their team fights.
It definitely can, but with that being said, make sure you get your bets in here to help us decide who you think is going to take this series. Make sure you type in !bet, either GAS for Gas, or it's going to be FBK for First Blood Knights. Put your points after that so you know how much you're betting, and get those in so we can all decide who we think is going to win. But we're going to see you right on the other side of this break while we get through spectator delay. Do not go anywhere. We are back and on to Summoner's Rift with this pivotal game 1 in this best of 5. Gotta love starting it off on the right foot here for both of these teams. We've got FBK on the blue side, Gas on the red side. Looks like we're gonna get a little bit of 5-man line of scrimmage here for both sides.
Yep, just very standard here. Neither team really wanted to take a risk. Although Cindy Bell, he is gonna walk into Earl King a little here. Won't get too much down, just some cheeky buckshot and a little bit of a deep ward. Are they able to?
Oh, it's so close. That would have been so.
Getting Zamundo. I think we're gonna see a little bit of a brawl here.
Yeah, we're gonna see a bit of action here at the level 1s, and actually Beniona being dropped pretty heavily. Looks like he's gonna have to back. I don't know if I'd back there. Yeah, okay, he makes the right decision.
Yeah, still though, that's gonna be pretty big here. Cause
oh no,
Zamundo, please don't. Please
don't do it. Oh, that tower shot hurts so bad.
But if Beniona is forced to use teleport to get back to lane here, it's gonna be pretty big. Although Zamundo's okay, he was backing and then he just canceled it there. Still though, it does mean Beniona, he is opting to walk to lane, so he will be a little late and might miss out on some creeps, so that might be a little detrimental for hitting level 2 first, or it might be more detrimental for the wave not being in his favor.
So, Granterino, I just want to zoom out here for a second before we get all this action going off apparently. I want to look at these keystones. We got 3 phase rushes on the Rift here. 2 on the side of Gas there, but 1 on the side of FBK. That's a lot, and I like to see it on the Graves especially. Onto the Rise and the Victor, it's pretty obvious pick, so you're going to see a big fight here at least. Is the phase rush going to help Cindy Bell get out of there? He's got the speed now. Going to get the little dash over as well, so uses that keystone as I'm talking about it.
I think Rush High Tempo was able to get the Gromp there. If you take a look at the farm count, he is up 1 camp. So definitely a failed invade coming out from Cindy Bell. Sure, he didn't lose any summoners or lose a lot of health off the back of it. Oh, there's a Mundo.
Ooh, gonna take a tower shot though. That's a big one. Oh my goodness, Zamundo, you gotta be careful there. You're taking too much damage. He flashes forward. Beniona does have flash, does have the angle, but the minions are doing so much. The minions are just gonna kill him. He has to flash out. And now Cindy Bell has arrived. Beniona, you put yourself in such a bad position. First blood going over to Zamundo.
That was a comedy of errors, to say the least. Because they were like, oh no, Zamundo's gonna die! And then 10 minions were just wailing away on Beniona like, get down, Mr. President! And so Mr. President Zamundo was able to live to see another day.
He definitely was. I love the last second to try to turn around by Beniona. Here Earl King's gonna be in some trouble. TP coming down. It's gonna be a 2v3 once he arrives. Rush Tempo goes in though, and now he's all by himself. Picks up a kill but goes down immediately. And now turning into a 2v2. Beniona needs to run away. Here on the bot side, you're gonna see some trading going down as Landon is going to get some damage put onto him. And Zamundo and Dead aren't gonna get a kill there, and Zamundo all of a sudden is on a killing spree, 3-1 in favor of FBK.
It's pretty huge because Zamundo can pop off decently hard on this Silas, and I think their Daddy the Panda used it as Zamundo gonna interrupt me with a little bit of an all-in, but here's Rush High Tempo.
Yeah, gonna get some damage down on Zamundo here. Conqueror did proc, so you get a little bit of extra damage. You want to try and get that red and blue back, as Rush High Tempo and Beniona are going to continue to follow through that, but they pull off as the distance is expanded by Zamundo. And it was Cindy Bell right on the backside of that, and actually might see a 2v2 up here on the top side.
We'll have to see, because Zamundo's going in. Does he land?
Got a lot of damage. Does not land the Scond. They do get the kill though, and now it's a rampage for a Silas in the top lane.
That is very scary as a land, but
tasty.
It's something.
Yeah, that was beautifully done by the Catfish man.
Yeah, I mean, kind of expected there. Landed. I don't think he could be tanking up tower here as a level 4 Senna.
They do actually have a good press up here on the bot side for themselves, and now that you're getting a very strong lead in the top lane, you have 4-0 on the Silas, who has just gone and spent all that wonderful money, is sitting about 1,500 gold over his lane opponent. And this early on, that's a good amount. That means that lane is gone.
If you take a look at the item differential here, sure. I mean, Rise does scale off the mana, so he is technically getting damage from that tier goddess, but I mean, Zamundo, he's getting a lot more damage worth of AP out of the... Oh, the hook lands in the bot lane.
But again, you're facing top 10.
Yeah, expect to see that a ton unless we see like very rapid fire hook lands, since the Tom Pinch Devourer is like what, base 28-second cooldown if you use it on allies rank 1 without any CDR.
And you're gonna see Rush High Tempo get engaged on and invaded by Cindy Bell there, who is not that far ahead and actually is behind on CS, but is able to provide that pressure in the jungle and force Rush High Tempo to back off.
It's kind of odd too, since Cindy Bell is at an item disadvantage right now. Granted, that might be because Rush High Tempo did just back it. Oh, the Upstun lands.
Oh my goodness, that's so much damage. He stepped right out of tower range too. Phase Rush gonna be popped there for Beniona, but not gonna go any further than that. And yeah, that's just a lot of damage coming out of the Sylas already.
Beniona though is able to at least return a decent amount of damage on this Rise. As we saw there, that is one of the biggest annoyances if you are a melee top laner facing a ranged enemy top laner, because you can win the trade, but as you walk out, that enemy top laner is going to get an extra spell or auto on you as you walk out, and that can really turn the trade. Granted, Zamundo, like you said, still wins the trade pretty handily. Oh, but look at Rush High Tempo. He is posturing for a bit of a potential gank in this top lane. I've been waiting around for quite a while, though.
Yeah, I don't think they are 100% confident on being able to go all in. They decide not to. It's going to be a back from Rush High Tempo. Decides to stop it, and it's just going to keep fooling around here. Finally, Zamundo steps forward and goes in. He's going to get all in here, though. Beniano goes down first. Zamundo is going to go down next, as that is a trade kill for them. And all of a sudden, it is going to be FBK taking the dragon.
And while that was a 400 gold shutdown, so 700 gold total if you include base 300, if you look across the map, I mean, Beniona, he still died with how far ahead Zamundo was. And Rush High Tempo, he lost his blue buff off the back of that. And this Earth Dragon is going to be going over to the side of First Blood and Knights right here. So that's going to get him a nice little early buff here, help him get towards that soul point. Plus, also, I mean, we're talking about in Champion Select Lemons with how once the Magic Resist starts rolling in, it might get really hard for this Gas lineup to win team fights very handily. And, I mean, Earth Dragon, it kind of makes that a bit worse.
It definitely does. They're going to get that extra little bit of that bonus armor and Magic Resist for themselves, but can still be overcome, as it is not going to be a Mountain Dragon Soul this time. So that's good news, as it's going to either be the Infernal or the Ocean, because the next dragon is that Cloud Drake.
What's your bet, Lemon? Infernal or Ocean?
You know, just for the sake of the story, I'm going for Infernal. Why not? Let's go for a 5-game best of 5 all Infernal Soul series. I want to see it.
That would be a lot.
There's not a script though, people, folks. There's not a script, I promise.
That's what we're legally obligated to say, though.
Yeah.
Daddy!
Daddy is going to be engaged on. That's going to be gold time, and it is going to pick up the kill. Podrick able to get a little bit of gold in his pocket.
And that is a very nice pickup here for Guess, since they were falling a little bit behind, what with all the kills being on Zamundo, and with that Earth Dragon. So that is going to help them claw back in this game a little and keep it fairly even. Granted, it did take them a lot to do that. We saw them have to use the Diana ulti.
Go right into the Diana here, but because Zamundo is so fed, he immediately runs away. It actually might get caught going back on the tower here. He's going to have to be seriously careful there, as Sylas did steal the Moonfall for himself, looking to get that extra AoE damage on the engage. Doesn't look like he's actually going to put himself in a very bad predicament here. He's going to go ahead and use it, but is it going to be enough? It is! He picks up another trade kill and is now 6-2.
Thing is, though, that's actually not worth that 1-for-1 there. That was just Zamundo being greedy, and he traded over that high-value kill to Beniona. And that's going to help Baniona come back in this lane so much. Because he was down by quite a amount. Oh, 4,000 IQ, looking for it. Never mind. Alright. So now this Rise has some more breathing room, and it's going to help him claw back into this game. Zamundo, I mean, don't get me wrong, going 1-for-1 there is still kind of impressive, but it's not worth.
Yeah, it's definitely not right in the eyes of the Werf dog, as we are going to see the bot lane still be pushed up pretty heavily here by FBK, and they've got to be careful now because Depth Charge is going to go through. It's going to get the knockup, but Landon is able to get out of there. Rush Tempo finally coming in, has the angle there. That is going to be the Moonfall. Dawning Shadow comes out as a last-ditch effort, but is not going to be able to help them out anymore. So Pacey is running, his ADC is down, and they get a kill for themselves on the bot side for Gas.
Take a lot, but they do get the kill, and it is going to help him get a little bit of breathing room in this lane of the bot, because Podrick and 4,000 health fight in the top lane, though.
Engaged. Oh, Rel Warp does not come through, and Zamundo picking up another one.
Now 7-2 on this Silas, all of his team's kills, so Zamundo, he's going to have to really make this worth it, because he is the entirety of his team's advantage at this current moment. The Rick Gerald is being dropped in the top lane, though, so this could be a first tower.
It does look like it, as it is going to get the charge from Shelly. It's going to be the first tower going over for FBK. As you do see Rush High Tempo trying to get something, but in the mid lane, Chaos Storm's going to be used. Deddy is going to have to go over the wall as well. Landon just trying to pick up some souls here for himself.
One thing I do want to highlight, if you take a quick look at the gold here, Lemons, Zamundo has 3,000 gold on Baniona. He has nearly double his gold.
And almost double his items. As that goes hand in hand. But goodness, Landon is doing a bunch of damage. It has to be careful. That's gonna be the beautiful collateral damage coming through from Cindy Bell to pick up that one.
And a very nice time to pick up said kill, because the dragon is spawning here in just under 30 seconds, and that will give First Blood Knights a lot of priority around this dragon to set up the vision and get control of it, and even steal away this blue buff. Podrick, though, he has to be careful.
He really does. He's going to get blinded, flashes over the wall. Now 4,000 IQ is going to be in some trouble here, but does have the safety of the tower to Spider Knot away to.
Yeah. Still, though, I mean, Podrick having his flash be down for this upcoming dragon is going to be a very huge nuisance, and he's actually having a back here, not wanting to risk it. So it looks like First Blood Knights, they're going to get a relatively free second dragon.
Yeah, it does look like that, and it's going to give them that extra little bit to help continue their lead here. As they're at a decent gold lead for themselves, at a kill lead, have gotten the objective so far, and are feeling very, very confident in this game number one.
Yeah, for sure, as they are generally clawing out a lead here, ever so slightly by the minute. Zamundo goes in.
Gonna go in on the 1v2, yet does use the Moonfall as well. Zamundo is gonna actually get taken down here, and great play coming out from the mid-jungle duo for Gas.
And Zamundo, he has to be so much more careful on this Silas, because, I mean, 7-3 now, that's still an impressive scoreline, but that's now 3 shutdowns he's given over to the enemy team, and that one kill alone swung the gold by nearly 1,000.
He did indeed, and that's a lot of pressure to be put on Zamundo, but kind of did it to himself, picking up all those kills so early on. So gonna have to see how that pans out for him on the Silas here. Now Podrick's gonna get Emperor's Divided right into Cindy Bell, and you should not be there, Podrick. This is gonna be taken out that time around, and it looks like the script gets to stay alive here, Granterino, as it is gonna be an Infernal Dragon Soul on this game number one.
Yep, and quite the soul. Daddy, though, has to be a little careful. Cindy Bell looking for a gank in this bot lane. 3 members here for First Blood.
They're going back in on the Cindy Bell, though, but the Dawning Shadow reigns true, as it's going to be a bunch of damage going through. Now it's Pacey spinning out right into the waiting arms of Baniona was Cindy Bell, and now Deddy is going to be running for his life from the Chaos Storm, but can't outrun the storm. Is going to go down to Earl King. Now it's going to be Landon overextending himself, who goes down to Podrick, and there's just chaos everywhere right now. Go for it.
But this chaos is favoring Gas here. Packy has to be a little careful. You're gonna be able to get out. Still though, that's 3 kills traded for 2 in return. You do get the top inner, which is gonna win out in the long run, but still. First Blood Knights, it feels like they're just playing a little too cocky.
Just a bit. It does seem like they're starting to kind of throw their lead away. I mean, they still are at a more than a 3,000 gold lead here for themselves. So they're still feeling good, but it definitely seems to be slipping away from themselves. But we said at the beginning of the cast that they are scaling very, very hard and can be strong. But here comes the dredge line right onto Zamundo, who almost gets caught yet again.
Yeah, Zamundo. He's trying a little too hard to be at baseball this game with how much he's getting caught. At least he's going to be able to get out of that one, though. As nothing too much going to be on the map here in terms of objectives to grab for a bit. Cindy Bell answering a bit of the invade here.
Yeah, it's going to be very tricky here. TP coming through, though, from the Zamundo, who wants to try and get something going with the aggressiveness that he's been using so far. They aren't able to pick anything up there for themselves, but Ping's already going down onto the Rift Herald number 2, as X-Podrick's going to go all the way in on the landed. Does get a nice trade on it, but not going to be able to pick up the kill.
Yeah, just kind of hard to get onto that Senna when you are X-Podrick. You only really have the Make It Rain to slow him, and that isn't really going to be able to fully get you caught up. Still, though, I mean, X-Poacher getting some free farm on this Misfortune is always very welcome here for Gas.
Yeah, it definitely is. And we do see a heavy focus down here towards this bot lane from the side of Gas. They had 4 members down here. It does look like you're just going to get a back out of Beniona to try and go defend top lane. But little does he know, there's Cindy Bell waiting right there as well. And they're definitely going to be looking for something a little bit sneaky here, as they're way behind enemy lines.
If you look at the flip side of the map, it's going to be a 3 versus 2 here in the bot lane. It looks like 4,000 IQ flashes.
Flashes in way in front of the Diana, though, so wasn't able to get anything. Depth charge going to go through, does get the double knockup. TP coming through to the bot lane, not going to really get anything. But Beniona has extended himself, tries to use the Realm Orb. He is going to get out for a second. Collateral damage, not going to be able to get anything from it. And that was a nice little escape for Beniona.
Yeah, it does cost him a lot there in the Realm Warp, but still, he's got to be feeling very lucky getting out of that one. Reptile dropped in the top lane, though, eyeing up this inhibitor turret and actually taking it out. Cindy Bell and Zamundo going to be running for the hill.
This is going to be a flash coming through from Cindy Bell, though. Chaos Storm going to go onto him. And he's going to get out from the blast cone, though. Silas still waiting on the other side. Nobody wanted to follow up Silas. They all only wanted to chase the Graves.
Yeah. Interesting, though, since the Silas is worth a bit more money. Granted, though, I mean, it might be a little hard to catch out Zamundo. He was in lane and a bit further away. Who knows? Daddy, you have to be careful here.
Emperor's Divide, Shurima Shuffle, but he's Shurima Shuffled to his doom, as that's going to be a bullet time coming over the wall from Podrick. He'll get a good amount of damage over, and that is going to be 1-4-1 right now. They're looking to continue this, but don't really have the positioning here. It is going to be high tempo getting rooted out, but they're not going to follow it up. They want to look at the dragon.
Yeah, and it's basically already dead, but Zamundo!
Zamundo! He's going in, he's blowing people up, and he's finally come online completely, apparently, and he's just exploding the enemy team from Gas here. The healing coming through, and the only one left on the board is Podrick.
Yeah, and X-Podrick, the only one left alive on his team, and FBK, they got that huge fight they're looking for, able to secure a bunch of kills, only trading 1 in return, and then now they are on soul point as well, so that's just giving them even more gas in the tank for this win con.
They definitely are, and scaling is still the key for their composition here, and they're coming to it just about, actually only at 20 minutes in, so still a little far off of it, but it feels like they're coming online here because they just took that fight whole-handedly, and it definitely had a lot to do with positioning. They had the extra strength as well from the dragon to help them just a bit, but now they're at Dragon Soul Point, and that means that it's either going to be a reverse sweep to the Dragon Soul, or it's just going to be the 4th one going straight over to FBK.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, granted, there's also the possibilities of 1 or 2 going over to Gas, but probably not going to be the case. Zamundo gonna find himself bam.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get in onto Beniona, but isn't able to get the kill. He's actually going to continue to go. Has to flash to get away from that. Beniona at least getting out his life yet again.
Yep, and that is at least something mildly nice, but Beniona probably not the biggest fan of having to use his flash just for getting some farm. There's the Dawning Shadow, and doesn't look like FPK is going to be able to get anything off of that thanks to the zoning coming out from Earl King's Gravity Field.
Yeah, they're sitting at about a 6k gold lead here now for themselves, and just kind of sitting in it and enjoying it as they're going to look at this outer tier tower here in the mid lane. They're going to be easily able to take that one out. Meanwhile, you do have Zamunda still playing Jaws in the jungle, just waiting for somebody to step up so he can try and kill them.
Certainly can't kill literally anyone on the side of Gas right now with how far ahead he is. 9-3-1 on this Silas. That is damage for days. But the current move right now is everybody's trying to get a little bit of a push going down. Pocky though.
Earl King's gonna get licked up there. Not gonna get eaten though. There's gonna be a lot used here. Here comes the Shurima Shuffles. Not gonna hit anybody though. As Beniona is able to pick up the kill onto Deddy. And that's one member down. Here comes the Realm Warp. Gonna see if they want to continue the fight here. As they get rooted up immediately.
Yep, still though a 1-4-0 in the favor of Gas. Make it 1-for-1. Is Zamunda able to get out of this point?
These people have friends and families. That was just so rough. That feels so bad. And I mean, you do have to say they did space check. And now here comes, oh my goodness, that's a beautiful moonfall coming through. Cindy Bell able to pick up Beniona. 4,000 IQ is going to be the next to fall. And they are going to just continue to press down this mid lane. The second you think the fighting is over, Zamunda says, no. We came here to fight today.
Able to catch Gas with her tail between their legs, and it does look like the call is going to be Baron here. Rush high tempo only just spawning, but 4,000 IQ and Beniona are still 10 seconds out themselves, so I don't know how Gas is going to be able to contest this unless Xpadric gets a beautiful Misfortune ultimate over the wall, but he is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, they are just going to give this one up and maybe look at defending against that dragon here, but at that point, you really got to be careful what you do around the map because they do have Baron buff, and that dragon is only about 55 seconds off, so you know that it's going to coincide with that timing, and they can use it to either, if you commit hard on the dragon, they can push down your base really quickly with that, or you have to give up dragon because you don't know if they're going to do that. So I'm really looking at what Gas's next intentions are and what their plan is here for the rest of this year, the game at least. Oh no.
On pinch ultimate, Rush high tempo gonna get a little bit of a tongue there, able to get out for the most part.
Yeah, it does look like we're getting a lot of vision fighting over here around the Dragon Pit. As you can tell, it is definitely FBK who want to get this soul and close out this game number 1 for themselves. But it is going to be up to Gas to put a wrench in the works here for themselves. Now the root's going to go down here. Dawning Shadow used as well. That's a lot of damage here. Zamundo gets another beautiful moonfall right into the middle of everybody. And that is going to be Gas going down one by one as they are going to continue using this lead to push their lane.
Yep, just absolutely choking the life from them. All it took was landing that one root onto Rush high tempo, and then from there it was just immediate on the go button. Zamundo going in on the Silas, using the stolen moonfall to just get almost the entire enemy team in that, and this is going to be an inhibitor tower and an inhibitor most likely to follow.
It is indeed. Don't know if they're going to go for very much more, as they are going to be fine with what they've achieved during that fight and looking to do it just again next time around. Zamundo's going to go ahead and back a bit early. They're going to try and get a bit of damage on this mid tier 2 as well, it seems.
Yeah, I don't know how much they'll be able to get onto it. There is the teleport coming out, and there are several members here.
Oh, he just wants to go in, I thought. Like he was like running right at it. Those home guard boots were ready, but then nobody else was there to follow him up. But he didn't want to go in.
Yeah, it would have been a 4 versus 5 if he did go in. Deddy was still kind of in base. There is Zamundo.
Stole the depth charge, just did half health to Podrick with the depth charge only. That is the AP scaling coming through from Silas's ultimate, as that was insanity. And that was honestly the nail in the coffin here for game number 1, as it is going to be FBK who take it whole-handedly here, as they're just going for kills. They don't care about the towers. They just want to pad those KDAs, as Zamundo is still going in, still trying to fight. Gets saved. Here goes the last Nexus tower. And honestly, they are just looking to finish this off right here in game number 1, as the Nexus goes down and FBK go up 1-0.
That was such a dominant 1-0, even though there were several falter points where we're like, is FBK kind of trolling a little? I don't know, because they were kind of getting caught. And then there was that point in the mid game where they're like, hey guys, what if we didn't get caught and push our advantage? They're like, yeah, let's do that. And then they won.
They definitely did, and knowing to press the right buttons when and where was the name of game number 1, and they did so beautifully, as it was actually back and forth for a little bit, but as soon as Zamundo started getting all those kills, really was able to dictate a lot of the game. And we highlighted it during the draft that there is a possibility that these top laners cascade their wins onto the rest of the map, and that's exactly what happened here for FBK.
Because we saw it just start off so horribly in the top lane for Beniona. Like, he almost had that first blood because Zamundo made a huge mistake and probably should have died. Had it not been for like a wave and a half's worth of minions just wailing away on Beniona. This game could have gone a lot more differently, but sadly that's not the case, and now Gas, they're down 1 game.
They are indeed, and we're going to go ahead and take a little break while we get ready for game number 2 for you, but you're not going to want to miss it after those fireworks from game number 1, so don't go anywhere. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, for game number 2 of the semifinals matchup between Gas and FBK. We are already getting to the picks, and Van's going to have to do a little bit of audio style here for you to start off while we get everything working, as pro draft is never fun. Yumi, Silas, and Shabana taking off the blue side for Gas, and it is going to be FBK on the red side. You take away Varus, Maokai, and Pike in the first phase. Then first phase picks here for Gas is going to be the Set, the Ivern, and the Nautilus. Red side, it was going to be the Graves, Senna, Tom Kench. And now we are in the second phase of bans here, as you can see now on your lovely screen. As we have Gangplank was the ban on the blue side, waiting on that second one to come through, as Aphelios and Caitlyn going to be the bans away for FBK. And a big difference in the banning picks here, I guess, at least for FBK.
Yeah, although if you look at their draft, it's literally the same so far.
Literally the same.
Pick up the Silas, because, it's a little band, but Gas. They are trying something different this game. Nala is still the same from last game, but the Ivern is kind of spicy, because, it's Ivern. Who's seen Ivern in the past 3 years?
Definitely. I did see it a couple weeks ago. It did not work out. I'm just going to give a little foreshadowing to it there. But we do see some high-profile picks coming through now, as we did get to see the Renekton come online for FBK, and that's going to be a rough time in the top lane there for Set.
Yeah, because, Renekton just so powerful right now with the Blade of the Ruin King build. You just go in, that's turbo easy proc on the press of the attack. You apply the Blade of the Ruin King passive 3 times if you use the empowered W there, so you can just pump out so much damage on the Renekton. Still though, Set, he's still kind of first pick for a reason here, Lemon. Still very strong, brings so much to the team, and even after all the nerfs, he's still a contested pick.
Yeah, and super strong with the showstopper into the Haymaker combo in the middle of a big team fight where nobody's really expecting it, nobody's looking at it. As we do have a double ADC comp coming through here for Gas, as Corki and Ezreal are going to be the last 2 pickups here for them. Azir going to make another name show up here for FBK, and literally the same composition except for the Renekton for FBK.
Yeah, although I do hope FBK does do some changes this game, especially on Deddy, since I respect him going for the Azir plays, but to put it lightly, some of them were a little overzealous, to say the least.
Just a little bit. Maybe it's just a warm-up game. Come on, he got his coffee now. He's ready to go. It's game number 2. Yeah. That's what we're saying. That's what game 1 is for, right? This is a best of 5. Come on. Now it's the real time. You don't, like you had already said before, you don't want to go down 0-2. And this is the moment to step it up, bring your A game. Maybe not the A game composition, but bring in your A game and mechanically and as a team, try and pull this win out for yourselves. I have to say, I'm not a big fan of the Ivern here. I don't think it meshes a lot into the composition that they picked for themselves. And I'm really looking to see why they picked it. There's got to be a reason.
Yeah, and it really does have to be some reason that they know and we don't here on the caster desk, since, like you said, the Ivern doesn't mesh a ton with this team. Granted, having that extra support in the jungle with the double ADC comp is great.
It can work.
Because you are bringing those extra heals and extra shields for said carries, and that can make their lives a ton easier. And Ivern does bring a lot of rather unique things as a jungler to the table that might throw FBK off their groove. But we'll have to see once we get into game, because the Ivern, even though we know it's go jungle, it is such a huge wild card.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it's going to be Cindy Bell again on Graves, being able to provide an early game kind of skirmish style jungler. Ivern doesn't do very well against that. If Cindy Bell does a lot of invades like they did last game, Ivern's going to have a lot of trouble. That tree is going to be burning unless he can get some help from his teammates. And that's where I'm looking at the communication for Gas to come through in this game, especially because if the composition isn't there, there's one thing that will reign supreme in League of Legends, and that is how your team works together and brings the strategies that you know of to life onto Summer Drift and help your team win the game. And it is going to be rough because you did lose that first game pretty hard against like pretty much the exact same composition you're going up against now. And yes, you've changed some pieces for yourself. You've definitely given yourself a little bit more, but still sticking with kind of going the same across the board. I mean, getting the 2 ADCs. Last time it was 3 AP carries. This time it's 2 ADCs. Maybe they're going to just go one more game and then now have everybody split up across the damage thresholds. But it is a little bit interesting that they tend to go with these like wave style comps where we're going to press you down with this one particular thing and hope it works.
Yeah, because this time around, FBK, expect to see a bunch of Ninja Tab Eyes itemized in the early and mid game here for them, because even though Corki does technically do like 80% magic damage, I mean, he's still auto-attacking you, and you reduce that with the Ninja Tab Eyes, so it's going to be still effective. And I mean, Ivern not exactly going to be the huge DPS monster here, because he is the support jungler. Nihilus, while he does have good base damages, he is working as a support, and that probably won't be enough for your team. So, I mean, once FBK, they get some Ninja Tab Eyes and potentially stuff like Randuin's or Thornmail or Frozen Heart potentially, that is going to be a very significant hamper on this Gas composition, because, I mean, double 80 carries, they don't exactly like their autos doing less damage.
They definitely don't, and it can be a good matchup here for Corki into this year. You can have some strength there, so we are looking at Earl King to try and get something rolling for himself. Maybe not with Rush High Tempo being able to help as much, but still, with the root that Ivern gives, you can get some good ganks off if you can get the pathing right. But it all depends on how Cindy Bell is pathing, where you're going to be able to kind of slip through and get into those lanes to try and get somebody ahead, because you do have a strong composition once some items start coming online, especially the Trinity forces. If you can get them on the Corki and Ezreal, your team fights are going to be feeling that much better. But then when we look at the team fights again, I just have to go just as I did in game number 1, where I think that FBK has the favorite team composition for the team fights. Yes, you don't have as much AoE this time, but it is going to be super, super strong once they kind of get all together, especially the major points around those the dragon and the Baron pits.
FBK, they have a much more generalized team composition here, trying to get a little bit of a dip in much more things than compared to Gas here. And I mean, that did help them out a lot last game. It didn't really come into full-on fruition since the game did end somewhat quickly, and it kind of snowballed out of control, especially from that top lane. But I mean, still though, it is going to be a factor this game.
It is indeed, as let's have to see how these teams pan out on the Rift. But again, I want to make sure everybody gets their bets in here for this series. Make sure you type in !bet either team, either GAS or FBK, as it is already over, I am told. I apologize, as I thought we were going to continue to go throughout the series, but it is over and you guys have already decided. And we are going to go to a little break while we get through this delay, but we're going to have game 2 for you. You're going to have to see if Gas can bring it 1-1 or if it is FBK who go up 2-0. Be right back here. We are back and on to Summoner's Rift, and we might have a little bit of spiciness here for you, as there's going to be FBK who make a little bit of an invade for themselves, going to be able to clear some vision and try and get a good angle here. Beniona is going to be in a little bit of trouble there, but all the poke coming down, it's just like we were in game number 1 already again.
Yeah, and nothing really much coming from this, just some deep vision that FBK is putting out. But if you look on the opposite side, 4000 IQ going to drop a deep ward of his own. So the only real differentials in that little scuffle was, I mean, Landon, he did get a cheeky little soul from that invade, and nothing else really came of it. Although, if you do look at the trinkets here for both teams, 4 have been used for the side of Gas. Granted, Rush High Tempo, he did swap out for that sweeper, so that is the free word.
It is indeed, and unfortunately, Granterino, we get the script ending here in this game, as it is not going to be Infernal Soul. I was lied to when I signed up for this cast. I was told it was going to be all 5 games, all 5 Infernal. You can all blame Joe for that, but we're going to move into this game anyways and just get how it goes. Nah, just throw some love to Joe. You gotta love him. Just giving him some guff, as it's actually going to be the 4000 IQ who flashes, and that is not a 4000 IQ play, as first blood goes over to Packy.
Yeah, because keep in mind, Gas's bot lane were the ones who engaged that with the immediate hook, and Cindy Bell, he's gonna find a tree here. Rush High Temple able, of course, to do Ivern and things and instantly take it away, but he is so vulnerable. Cindy Bell just going through town on this tree. Has to watch out for the Q.
That's gonna be the Valkyrie going over. He went too far! Cindy Bell goes down, and what do you know? It's Rush High Tempo picking up the kill on the Ivern.
Like, Cindy Bell, why? Like, you didn't have to go all that far. You got the little bit of advantage, and he bullied the tree out of his own jungle, but, like, come on! You don't have to dive under mid-inner at level 2.
Yeah, just trying to get the game started early. What the beautiful thing is I was gonna hide out, just show that Cindy Bell is still playing that aggressive invade style jungler, and it was gonna work against Rush High Tempo, and it still could, obviously. But getting over that first kill over to the Ivern is gonna put you at a huge deficit when you're trying to go for those invades.
Because I mean, it is gonna give Rush High Tempo that little bit of extra breathing room while Cindy Bell tries to clear his own jungle to make up for that lost level invade, and that's time he's not gonna really have to invade.
Again. That's gonna be. Let's see if it changes this time around. Oh no, you can't do that, Cindy Bell! You know there are minions, you have a shotgun, you can't do that. As it's gonna be the flash 4, that's gonna be the root, and 2 kills already given over very early on here. It's gonna be Zamundo who is able to catch the set though, as he's able to redeem a little bit from Cindy Bell's overstep.
1 for 1 there, but I mean, still.
I don't know what to say.
You're
gonna be in some serious trouble here, as he's gonna flash forward, does get the kill onto Rush High Tempo, is able to get out. We've got action all over the top lane here, as it is now 3-2 in favor of FBK. He's TPing back to base. He's gonna get out. Beniona, so close. He second guessed himself there. If he would have kept walking, he would have been in range for the face breaker. And that's a bit rough for the set, but maybe we'll get back to a basic state of League of Legends here at some point, Granterino.
Some point maybe, because I'm at a loss of words so far this game. Because we saw the level 1 fight in the bot lane, that got first blood, then we saw Cindy kind of try and go too hard on an invade, but break up that thought for now, because we have Rush High Tempo looping around on this tree.
Yeah, it does have a nice angle here. 4000 IQ is going to get rooted. Landon's going to be able to get a good distance away here, as Pacey is going to be slowly but surely burned up in the wonderful kill for Rush High Tempo there. And now we see a little bit more action continuing, as Landon's still trying to go in on the Rush High Tempo, but here's the top lane. It's going to be Beniona and Zamundo going against each other, and honestly, surprised that Landon still wants to play this aggressively here on the bot side. You do have a Zir coming this way, but it is a little bit too late.
Yeah, definitely a little bit too late. Landon, that could have gone very wrong for him had there been a 4,000 IQ in a bush that he hadn't expected. Still though, good on rush high tempo to kind of see that there and just recognize that there was a little bit of over-aggression in this bottom lane and punishing them. Pacey though, he might get up another hook though, and rush high tempo is still around. Granted though, look at the mana bar here for Podrick, very low, and rush high tempo is still about half health, so that would have been a kind of risky all-in.
Definitely would have, but it is rush high tempo, spending a good amount of time down here on the bot lane, trying to get his duo lane ahead there. As the Mundo is again going on to Beniona, that's going to be a lot of damage exchanged both ways, and playing very, very, very strongly in the top lane are both of the top laners.
And I mean, Zamundo is able to do this aggression because we did just see rush high tempo bot, so there is no worries of a gank unless Earl King roams up. And since he does have the Vamp Scepter here, that is a lot of extra sustain. But here's rush high tempo.
He's gonna be way overextended yet again, trying to go for the 2v1, is able to take it actually, kills the one that does damage. All that's left is the Tree Man, and the Tree Man can't do anything even with the kill to his name, as Zamundo is gonna be the croc that reigns supreme in the top lane.
That was so risky there from rush high tempo, because I mean his top lane is still level 5, super low health, and even with the Trigger Siege shield there, it definitely wouldn't have been enough in the face of a Renekton that was 2-0, had the Dominus, and just all that extra damage coming through. That's an easy 2 kills for nothing whatsoever on Zamundo. Now 4-0 on this Renekton.
We're getting deja vu of last game. They just look a little bit different. As Zamundo starting off yet another game in a spectacular fashion here, and setting up the rest of his team to be successful. And that's what happened in the first game, was the Sylas, who got ahead early, was able to roam around the map, help his jungler secure those objectives, and I expect much of the same this time around, even more so with the Renekton.
If you take a look at the builds here between Beniona and Zamundo, one has a full Blade of the Rune King, the other has Ninja Tablets. This top lane is going to be brutal for Beniona if he doesn't get any help whatsoever, but we saw what kind of happened last time. Cindy Belt's going to be routing round 2 mid somewhat here. Earl King, though, does have the Valkyrie and the Flash still available, so he should be fairly safe on the Scorpion.
Yeah, and play of the Rune King completed here for Zamundo in the top lane. Now it's going to be Deddy. He lands the Emperor's Divide, though, as Earl King is going to be rooted up. Stunned up is not going to go down as he flashes over the wall. Landon's going to return that, though, and says, "You aren't getting out today, sir." It's going to be Rush High Tempo left kind of standing there wondering what he can do. Dawning Shadow's not going to get the damage off as the flash forward from 4,000 IQ right into the Ezreal is Deddy, but he gets out from that one. Podrick goes forward, though. They are able to pick up a double kill for the Ezreal in the mid lane.
That is 2 for 1 in the end there, even though Earl King did drop there. Still able to get 2 kills off the back of that, both of them going to Ezreal, who's going to be scaling fairly well into the late game, and that's going to give him pressure on this mid tower. But Zamundo pops the Dominus, has Cindy Bell.
Right into the waiting arms of the Graves, but that's the package coming through at the right time, and they're able to pick up 2 more for themselves.
It's just such unfortunate timing there for First Blood Knights, because had that package not come out, that play would have worked out, or at least been a 1-for-1. But even then, the play was still a little bit dicey, because Zamundo went in a little too early before Cindy Bell came, and meant that he ate so much damage from the tower. Either way, though, I mean, Earl King, he's going to really appreciate getting those kills to come back into this game, and so is Beniona.
Definitely is, and using them to get yourself even more is what I am looking for here, as they were able to get a good amount on the bot side for the side of FDK, as they're getting a bunch of tower play gold for themselves. But meanwhile, Rift Herald has started across the Rift.
Yeah, and I mean, Cindy Bell, he's in the area, but it would be a 1 versus 3 affair, and yeah, not having any of it, a little too late to that, and at best it would have been a 50-50 trade for an objective, and we don't take those here at Risen.
Exactly. As it is a very volatile game here so far. 7-6, 1K gold lead for the side of FBK, but that is nothing to look at here because it has been so chaotic in these fights, and both sides have moments of glory and moments of defeat here. As True Shot Barrage is going to go through, as well as the depth charge onto Landon. It's going to connect, but way off on the side there. As it is actually going to be Pacey, who does a lot of damage. On the top side, it's going to be Rush High Tempo, gets dragged down to the dirt by Zamundo. And that is not the engage you're looking for, my friend.
Yeah, and I think the junglers kind of need to stop ganking top at this point, because there's been one successful gank top out of 4 or 5 we've had this game, so definitely a very low chance play there. Still though, I mean, 7-7 in kills, and that kind of speaks to just how bloody this game has been, Lemons. We're not even 12 minutes in.
Not even 12 minutes in, indeed, as you're going to see Rush High Tempo try to contest over this against Cindy Bell, but that's just going to be a nice little dash over the wall right into Earl King, who's going to have to use Valkyrie to get out of there. Here comes the TP from the top lane, though. So I don't know if they're going to be able to get it here. They got to watch out for the Dredge line, but he hits the wall instead. And 4,000 IQ not be able to get the engage. Here comes the Tom Kent. Here comes Stacy on the backside. Donning Shadow as well over the top, and that's going to be huge damage coming through from Beniona, though. Showstopper into the back line, but it's not going to get a lot. It's just going to get the one kill as Zamundo is trying to chase down the back line of Gas here, but they are all going to pull off, and it is Dragon that is set in their sights now.
FBK just able to capitalize on that so hard there. Had 4,000 IQ landed that dredge line, ooh, this fight would have probably gone so much more differently, but not able to land that, and then they still kind of forced to go in, and Pacey hopping in on the back with Tom Kenshin. You think you can focus him, but he does have the gray health, he does have the Dawning Shadow, and Zamundo looks like he has another kill.
He's got Blade of the Ruin King pop, he wants to get it, he got the damage, does he get out though, as now we're going to the top lane. It is actually going to be Zamundo who escaped that situation. Earl King gonna run away from Landon and just pressure all over the map being put forth by FBK.
And that's, oh no, just the one tower picked up, never mind. Very close to getting that second tower on the bot lane, still has 2 plays to his name. Still though, FBK, they are running away with the objectives, like you said. It's only been that one Rift Herald they've missed out on, but other than that, they got first tower and they've got the first 2 dragon buffs, so they are definitely sitting pretty, and Gas, they're gonna have to make really good use of this Rift Herald fairly soon in order to kind of equalize all the objectives they've lost.
They are indeed, as it is going to be coming up very quickly here. Pacey able to get a good slow onto Beniona, who's going to run right into Cindy Bell. Putting a lot of damage back. He's still got Haymaker available to him. He's going to go ahead and use it there. It does run right into Landon, who is now going to help try and pick up that kill. The shielding is there, but it's not going to save his life, as that is going to be a kill given over to the Senna. Probably not the one that you want to give all that gold to, but it does go over anyways.
And I mean, Senna, even though she is primarily support and utility, she's still building damage, so you are getting some mileage out of giving her kills. So it's not the end of the world. It's not like you're giving a support Nautilus like 20 kills. But the forced Rift Herald drop in the bot lane, and that is very unfortunate here for Gas, because that was the one objective they did get, and they're just kind of forced to pity flop it. Zamundo, though,
he's played so aggressive this series. He's going to get tower shot here, and that's going to be a little bit too much to handle. He's not going to use very much there. Didn't have Dominus, didn't have anything available to him. Now it's going to be Rush High Tempo who gets rooted up here. Dawning Shadow coming through, but don't have the damage. Collateral is going to go as well. And finally, they're able to pick up that kill. The tower is still taking down Pacey, but now they're going to look onto 4,000 IQ, who's going to go down. And a beautiful tower dive coming through from the trio from FBK.
Yeah, easy 3 versus 2 there, and even though they saw 4,000 IQ and Rush High Tempo able to hold out for a decent amount of time there, it's just, I mean, we saw how much the heals and shields and the Devour helping out so much in keeping these members alive for FBK.
And indeed it is. We're going to see a nice little back coming through from FBK, and now I'm looking at the side of Gas to try and find something here, because they are getting to a big goal deficit for themselves, and Dragon, another one going to be coming up here in 2 minutes. It is going to be the Cloud Soul this time around, so that ultimate cooldown is going to help out both of these teams, honestly. But it is definitely in the favor right now, at least, of FPK. Gonna have to see if they can change that here.
Yeah, because Gas, they certainly aren't out of this by any means, but I mean, nearly 6,000 gold down, they are bleeding heavily this game. Rush high tempo. Gonna be bullied out of his blue, but thankfully able to pick that up. Beniona gonna use the Blade of the Rune King active there to get a little bit of zoom.
Gets a little bit of the speed underneath of him, as it is going to be Rush High Tempo who gets out of that, and it is a bit rough here. You've got a 3-level deficit in the jungle, and that makes these objectives that much harder, at least, to get a hold of here.
Yeah, because, I mean, Ivern, he's not exactly known for taking objectives all that fast, and oh, Landon has to be careful here. Beniona gonna use the Q to try and catch up to him, but doesn't want to go too far without his team.
You do have Cindy Bell over here in the enemy side jungle. He is going to be by himself, though. Death Charge is going to connect as well as the package, and that's going to be Cindy Bell going down, getting caught out. Pings immediately go down onto the Rift Herald here, and that is the kind of catch out that we were looking for Gas.
I mean, it happened last game too, where a bunch of members on FPK got cocky, but let's see if this Rift Herald is a mistake or not, because Zamundo is on the backside, uses the board to get some move speed. Does have the Dominus available. It would be a 4 versus 5 though.
Yeah, now they're going to look for the engage. The Emperor's Device Perimeter Shuffle does not land there, but they still have a lot of damage. Daisy goes over the wall now, as it's going to be landing, getting dropped super low. You have Beniona on the backside, huge haymaker as well. Rush High Tempo finally goes in, but you still have to deal with Zamundo, who is super strong right now. Landon getting blown up in the backside here by the combo of the Ezreal and the Corki. They're going to get out, and it's just going to be a 1-for-1 in that fight.
But a very costly 1-for-1 for both sides here. If you take a look at the Summoner's Lemon, because so many flashes were used in that team fight, and who knows who's going to come out on top of it. Tempo getting invaded yet again. He does have background.
King going in, though. He's going to get the damage. You got to be careful. Graves does so much burst as that's landed, picking up a kill, going on a rampage for himself. Here comes Beniona, does have the movement speed from the TP, and is going to go ahead and use the built-in speed from the Q as well. But the Dragon is going to go down, and that's going to put FBK on sole point here for themselves for the second game.
FBK, like, they are showing weakness here. Like, there are chinks in the armor, but still they're coming out on top, and they have a very firm lead in this game. So, Gas, they still have quite a bit to come back in this game. Thankfully, though, I mean, if you look at Podrick, if you look at Earl King, they're both very, very close to completing their 2 items with the Manamune, with the Triforces. Once they get that, then this Gas composition will really come online.
It will indeed, and you just got to get to that point. You still are about at a 6k gold lead, or deficit, for the side of Gas, but you've got ways back into the game. Rift Herald's being started here, but it was just a bit of a bait. And they're going to just get a little bit more vision for themselves and still try and get down this Rift Herald. It's gonna be, the leash is getting very, very low for it here. Zamundo finally is here. Beniona going down the backside. That's True Shot. Barrage gonna start it off. Dominant's gonna be popped here as well. He's getting very low, but it's gonna be the healing coming through. Cindy Bell's gonna get showstoppered right into the back. He flashes immediately after that to try and get out. The fight is going to continue. Denny is not able to pick it up, as it's going to be Rush High Tempo gets the Rift Herald there. They're following up the kills here now as the Ezreal is coming online. It's Zamundo who's in the back line now. Dotting Shadow, all of a sudden it turns around, and it's all in favor of FPK. As it is Rush High Tempo who's going to get caught now. The lateral comes through, and Cindy Bell picks up another one.
It's a 4-4-1 in the favor of FBK. They're only losing their mid laner and the Rift Herald in that, and they've got to be feeling so good off the back of that, because now they're going to get even more control on this map, taking down that mid tower and potentially this mid lane inner. There are some members spawning up soon, but it shouldn't be too much of a hassle to take down this tower, at least most of the way.
Yeah, and man, in these fights, Zamundo is picking up his team, shoving them into his backpack, and saying, "Let's go. We got a series to take." And it has just been so dominant here from Zamundo in this series so far. First on the Silas, and now on the Renekton. And you've got to find a way to shut that down. It is Landon who's providing a lot of that healing, a lot of that backup damage there. But it is the Crocman himself who's really turning these fights around, as you saw the re-engage there during that one, going through the low health members and just able to clean it up for them there. As Baron is now on the table, another dragon coming up in 2 minutes here, as that is going to be the Soul, if it is FBK who takes it, but hoping that Gas are able to stall a little bit longer for themselves. They just want to try and buy as much time as they can.
Fairies are so close to being able to buy their Trinity Force. It's just a few hundred gold more. And that, I mean, we said it before, that's when they're really going to come online, but question is, how much are they going to keep losing until then? Because this game definitely not going in their favor, especially in terms of objectives. Sure, they've been able to get both Rift Heralds this game, but we saw the first Rift Herald having to be just plopped down randomly, and with the current state of the game, I feel like it might be somewhat similar for the second Rift Herald.
Exactly, and it really is a big question here because you got a lot of choices. Granterino and both outer towers in the top and mid are still available to be taken, but the thing is, you overextend, they're already in your jungle, and that means that you have to play this vision game, and that means you can't get into a position to use this Rift Herald effectively or the way you want it. They already really weren't able to use the first one the way they wanted it, a bit of a panic use under the tower as the timer was coming up, and I want them to use it more effectively this time if they get the chance to. But so far, FBK are pressing all the right buttons to make sure they can.
Yeah, and it right.
Yeah, Sydney Bell is going to be engaged onto, but it doesn't matter. The healing from the Senna is so much as Beniona is going to get spit out right into the waiting arms of Landon. And that's going to be Zamundo going in on Podrick, but it's 4,000 IQ trying to go in on the backside, trying to carry his team, but he can't do it. He's just a Nautilus. That's the package coming through for Earl King. He's able to pick up one for himself, but he goes down. And that is going to be a huge pickup there as Cindy Bell is on a killing spree. Zamundo lands the stun. Double kill going over to the Graves. And they have everything they want. 23-13. They can take the Dragon Soul. They can take the Baron if they want to. And they're going to take everything.
This game is so wide open for FBK right now. They're gonna get the Soul, they're gonna get that mid lane inner. I don't think they're gonna get the Baron right now since timers are a little low, they're a little low themselves, and they have a lot of gold to spend right now, Lemon. So just get yourselves that in the Cloud Soul this game. I almost said Emerald Soul, but just get that. That'll boost your chances of winning this game that much more. Zamundo finds himself a tree.
Yeah, he's going to be able to take him down. They are just, they've got axes made of diamond, apparently. And it is Rush High Tempo just getting melted down left and right. And it just feels so bad for a pick who actually started doing okay at the beginning of the game. But it was those questions of what happens later in the game and how do you work around it, as now it's going to be a bit of a catch out here. Showstopper for Pacey, as he's going to take the blast code, stop him from getting over, and he's not going to use anything to get out of there. Didn't have anything to get out of there. But it is Zamundo who gets to be free a little bit.
Still though, Gas, they are going to be certainly happy getting a free kill onto one of their carries nonetheless, so it's free. It isn't much, but it's free, and you will take whatever you can get right now for Gas just to claw your way back into this game. And I want to look at the bot lane here for FBK, because they've been actually so crucial in these team fights, because time and time again, Lemons, we've been talking, speaking of the devil, 4,000 IQ.
Yeah, it's going to be Cindy getting caught out. Dawning Shadow coming through. A lot of damage being put on the backside of that. The Stream of Shuffle doesn't come through, but the damage does. And it's still going to be 3 members heading for the hills here for Gas, who are going to be slowly but surely run down, as that's going to be Zamundo going unstoppable. Pacey comes around the flank, and this could just be the nail in the morality blow for Gas, who are just not having a good time in this game.
such a tragic time here for Gas, because, I mean, you said it yourself, they had some things going on for them early, but they also made some mistakes themselves, and that's how we've reached this current point of the game. And at this point, there isn't really much of a chance to come back, because even though both the carries have gotten their core items, it's kind of a little bit of a too little too late sort of situation here.
Yeah, and I mean, Ezreal is definitely that mid-game type of champion where you really want to use that power spike to help you. You've been on the back foot the entire time. You're at almost a 13k gold lead or deficit here, Granterino, and that is so hard to come back into, because Cloud Soul is taken. Gonna give them a lot of movement speed, as you saw last time around. They were able to just chase down whatever they wanted. And for that, you have to be careful in the fights that you take, as it's going to lead into a big effect here. As you see, one person goes down, they immediately smell blood in the water, and they go for the rest of them. But here's Zamundo, might be caught out, and they're going to try to get all they can. Dominus already popped here, getting stunned up, and it's going to be brought down super low. That's 1,000 gold going over to Beniona, and a good start in the clawback to this game.
I mean, while it did take them a decent amount there, and they do lose that bot tower, they should be able to defend this mid tower. They should be able to defend this bot tower, and you got that huge 1,000 gold shutdown. That is going to feel so nice here for Gas, because I mean, like we said earlier, they will take anything they can get.
Oh, that's going to be another touchdown here. This is exactly what they want, as Pacey is going to let Landon get out of there, but that's going to be collateral coming through for Sydney Bell, who is going to get a lot of damage put down onto him. Earl King on the backside gets super low, but a double kill coming through for Podrick, as now Sydney Bell's the only one left over here, after Daddy is going to be taken down as well. And that's going to be a lot of gold going over. A quadra kill for Podrick, but what can they do with it?
I don't know if they will be able to do much with this, because there is no ban, there is no dragon for them to grab, but still, that is such a huge fight for them, and it helps them come back into this game a lot. Just able to get all those kills. A quadra kill for Podrick. So, I mean, Podrick, he's going to be so massive right now. That's going to help him out a ton right now.
It is, and it was about 13k gold lead here for FBK. Now it's only about 10k, so definitely making chunks in it as they go, and that's how you gotta do it. I mean, you don't have anything to go for but the Elder Dragon here and the Baron, and Elder Dragon coming up in 1:25. You've got to have some more gold in your pockets to be able to fight that, because I don't know how you fare once that Elder Dragon buff is put onto the side of FBK.
Sure, because it's not only a gold lead, but if you take a look at the Zamundo, here he comes. He's
he wanted this. He was going for it. And now the TP is going to come through. That's going to be Arrow King going down. Next is going to be Rush High Tempo. Dawning Shadow coming in with the haymaker, as the big damage coming through is going to be Beniona, who tries his own haymaker and is not able to get the damage down. That's going to be 4,000 IQ. Next, getting rooted up, getting stunned up. Depth charge used onto Zamundo. And they are just at a huge fight here, but there's two members of FBK pushing mid lane, and it was all part of the plan as the inhib goes down.
Yeah, and keep in mind that was a 1 versus 2 there for Zamundo. It's not over yet.
That's going to be Podrick getting blasted by the shotgun from Cindy Bell, and that is the ace coming through, and that is going to be FBK going up 2-0 in this best of 5 semifinals.
Was a very shaky start with some rather aggressive invade, but they're able to pull out a very huge victory in the end, just dominating in Gas for the second game in a row.
Yeah, and really just Zamundo playing so well. The thing is they banned out a ton of his stuff in game number 1. Didn't matter. Game number 2, they laxed a bit on it, let the Renekton through. He carries so hard on the Crocodile Man, and it just shows that you might have to throw some more bans his way. I mean, it's just so hard right now, because Zamundo is smashing so strongly in the top lane that you've got to shift your focus and be able to counter that somehow. Because if that continues to go, we've already seen game 1 and 2, and it could be a quick game number 3.
Gas, they tried something different for sure this game, and it didn't work out again. So I mean, they're gonna really have to tighten up that top side of the map in the jungle, in the top lane, and then just try and abuse the rest of the map.
Exactly that, but we're going to have to see how it all unfolds. Are we going to get a quick 3-0 from FBK, or are we going to see the wonderful and magical reverse sweep come through for Gas? You'll have to wait and find out on the other side of this break. Do not go anywhere. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, for this ultimate game number 3. We're going to see if we get to go all night long, hopefully, or if we end here with a quick 3-0 by FBK. But we are getting into the picks and bans. But I want to take a moment and say thank you so much to Upsurge for giving us a bit of a raid here. And thank you all for joining us for this awesome series so far. We have seen Zamundo carry game number 1 and 2 with the help of his friends and his team, but we're going to have to see if he can continue it in game number 3 as we're already getting through the picks and bans here. We have Vareth, Maokai, and Pike taken away for FBK, Graves, Olaf, and Set taken away for Gas. Senna, the first pick for FBK.
And, I mean, the Senna Tom Kench lane has just been so crucial to both their wins, because even though they certainly weren't racking up all the kills, they were still providing so much for their team, because time and time again we're just calling out FBK. I'm like, hey, you're going in way too aggressively, hey, you're dying. But once we saw the 5-man phase come about, everyone else on the team was able to go aggressively, because you have the Senna, you have the Tom Kench to keep you alive. This time though, Gas, they are going to pick the Caitlyn Morgana, which is going to be a much more brutal lane for the Senna Tom Kench. And I don't know if they wanted Tom Kench this lane, because he is going to be eating up so much poke and harass from this Morgana Caitlyn.
Yeah, and that could be the downfall of FBK. They have been pretty strong with it so far, but up against that Caitlyn Morgana is definitely a different tale. Now, that is such a lethal bot lane, especially if you can get caught out easily as Tom Kench can. And they are going to change up just a bit here for the side of FBK. They pick up Syndra, finally realizing that the Azir is not working the best that it could, at least in this situation.
Yeah, because there certainly were some good things to say about Dedi's Azir. It's just the main problem is he would always try for the highlight reel play with those engages on the Shurima shuffle, but time and time again we saw them kind of fall a little flat, and time again we just kind of see him die shortly afterwards.
See?
So
now all you gotta do is press one button, go for, you just gotta press that little R button there. And it hits really hard, I promise. It really does. As we're going to have to see how Dedi pilots the Syndra this time, as Victor is the pickup again for Gas, returning to a game number 1 pick that actually was doing pretty well for them.
Yeah, because, I mean, it was offering so much zone control in that game number 1. The poke in lane also helped out immensely in dealing with Dedi's Azir. Granted, it might be a little different this game because it is against the Syndra, and the Syndra does spike a bit earlier than the Azir and packs a lot more kill potential in lane.
Indeed, as we saw the Trundle banned away for Gas on the red side, Sejuani taken away for FBK. Waiting on those last couple bans here to really round out where we're going to see these compositions go for. And it is the hover of the Jarvan here, which hasn't been a pick we've seen so far.
Yeah, and the Graves is still up that we have seen all series long from FBK, and
it is not actually. It is.
My bad. Yeah, okay, I see it now. I'm blind. But what else is new? Either way, though, I mean, a lot of jungle bans being tossed around, and
yeah,
is gonna potentially push the junglers. Granted, the Ivern is still open for Gas if they want it, but it did leave a little bit to be desired in that first game. Well, Kindred, it would be very spicy.
All right. I like to see it. I do really like Kindred myself, but with this composition, it can be a bit rough. I mean, it's going to be a lot stronger than the Ivern would be, at least that we saw last game. Lee Sin gonna be hovered here, and honestly, you might be picking yourself a really bad setup here if you're gonna get a Lee Sin picked into the Kindred, because that is a kick waiting to happen out of the Lamb's Respite.
Yeah, but another thing to note though is that if this Morgana for Gas, if 4000 IQ is quick on the draw, he will be able to black ever Lee Sin wants to kick very easily. I mean, granted, it's not that black and white when it comes to team fights, because there are going to be a billion other abilities that you might need a black shield, or it might be on cooldown from something else, who knows. But if it is up, and the Lee Sin does go in for that game-winning play, there might be a black shield to say no.
Yeah, and Silas was the last pickup for FBK, so returning to that comfort from the first game as well that did so well because of some early mistakes by Gas, and maybe have the same kind of luck this time around, but maybe it won't, as the Poppy is going to be the final pickup for Gas, and we have our compositions lined up for us, Granterino.
Yeah, perfect compositions indeed, because we are definitely going to be seeing a good bit of action here very early on. Because, I mean, when you have Syndra, when you have Lee Sin, when you have Sylas, when you have Morgana, and a Poppy, a Victor, a Kindred, you can make a lot happen early on if you land the right abilities.
You can indeed, and a little bit different from Gas coming through here. They do have some, at least new champions pretty much across the board. The only returning is going to be Victor there, and really looking for them to show up on these picks. I mean, this is obviously their last-ditch effort. This has to be all their cards on the table, because there's not another game to put your cards into after this one if you can't pull it out for a victory. And we'll have to see how they want to kind of interact with each other, because it has been around those team fights where things haven't been going their way. But I am so ready to see Podrick on this Caitlyn. I want to see him pop off. We saw bits and pieces of it on the Ezreal with that quadra kill in the last game, and they were trying so hard to pull it back, but we're just way too far behind. But this time, setting yourself up right on the front foot here with Caitlyn and Morgana. I want them to focus on this bot lane and try and get them ahead to snowball into the rest.
They can do it fairly well with the bot lane this game, since, I mean, it should just be a field day for the Caitlyn Morgana to continuously poke out this Tahm Kench and bully him out. And even with the sustain coming out from Senna, it might not be enough for this Tahm Kench to get through this laning phase. And that was a huge factor in those previous two games, the Senna Tahm Kench getting out of lane fairly easily and fairly well off. This game, though, if they are behind when they come out of lane, go into those team fights, we might not see some of those near death saves that we did last time around.
Indeed, as we're going to have to look how that all kind of plays out here. I'm really putting a magnifying glass on these junglers this time around, though, as it is Cindy Bell, who has been the more aggressive style jungler this time here, and it is going to be scouting ground on the other side this time in the jungle for Gas.
Yeah, definitely doing a huge shakeup in this last game here to, it wasn't working out the first two games. Maybe scouting ground is able to do something different this game for your team. Who knows? I mean, you're down 2-0. If you lose this game too, you're out of the series, like you've mentioned already, this champion select Lemon. So, I mean, when else but now?
Yeah, and really just ready to see the action we get early on. We've had action from like minute one in every single game, and it hasn't just been in one spot. It's been like across the board, every single lane just fighting each other before the minions are there. And it has led these games to have a very early start and start getting some gold into these certain pockets at an early state of the game, and it can really affect these compositions, especially the ones we have drafted for this game, as if you get a bit of gold on really any one of these champions, they start scaling super hard.
Yeah, and a lot of these champions can also snowball very hard too, because I mean, you give Syndra an inch, she'll go a mile. And it applies to other picks too, like the Lee Sin here for First Blood Knights. They have a lot of power in this early game. But if you look at Gas, I mean, Morgana Caitlyn can be such a bully lane, and they can just get a huge advantage in lane without even getting a kill, just due to out-CSing your opponent and getting all those tower plates.
Yeah, tower plates can do so much, especially early on, and that little bit of extra gold in the pockets of the carries. But again, Landon, Pacey on the Senna Tahm Kench for the third game in a row have shown up pretty well on it, especially that last game, really providing some crucial Dawning Shadows for the team composition there. But this time it's going to be a bit harder, as we had pointed out before, and I kind of want to break down that lane just a bit.
Yeah, because, I mean, do you have any initial thoughts you want to give on it before I weigh in?
So I really we've stated, and everybody kind of knows, so Tom Kinch is going to have a really, really rough time. And Caitlyn does have the range here against the Senna, but if they can play a bit defensively and bait in the Caitlyn Morgana to get a bit closer to their tower, I think Cindy Bell can really, really do some good in the bot lane as well.
Yeah, I was also looking at Cindy Bell here too, because scouting ground on the Kindred. Kindred doesn't exactly have the best ganks unless the enemies are really pushed up or you're getting a counter gank, since you don't exactly have that immediate oomph when you come in. You just kind of drop the E, you try and auto him a few times and get that proc. It's something, but it's not as electrifying as the Lee Sin coming in with a ward hop, dropping the Q on you, dropping like a kick on you. So Cindy Bell, he's gonna have to make the most of this Lee Sin early on, and bot lane can certainly be a place to go, because one of the biggest things he can do to just completely screw over a Caitlyn Morgana lane is just gank him over and over, and the Black Shield won't even really do all of much against Cindy Bell before he gets the kick, since, I mean, you're gonna be stopping the resonating strikes slow, sure, but that's only a slow, so you'd be having to use it to either stop the Tom Kench stun or Landon's root.
Yeah, and it's going to be a lot of choices to try and Black Shield, as 4,000 IQ is going to have to use every single one of those points in IQ to be able to make that decision to save his team. We'll have to see how it all works out for them, and if Gas can bring us to this reverse sweep that we might be on the precipice of, or are FBK just going to shut it down and spike it into the dirt and move on to the finals? We'll have to see, as we were going to a short little break through spectator delay, but right on the other side, we have game number 3. We are back and on to Summoner's Rift for this game number 3. We're going to see some pings coming down. See gas all heading down the same way. We might see some spiciness starting us off here, Granterino.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a great time to do it. You do have the Morgana, so that is a lot of potential spice if you land that binding. And ooh, I like this too. Earl King, he's kind of trying to bait it out a little, trying to see if he can, suss out anything. Can Zamundo get the ward in?
No, you're
come on,
such a bad idea, Zamundo. My goodness.
Oh my god.
And also, to top it all off, the gold goes straight to Podrick's pocket.
I have witnessed a 6th dimensional being outplayed there. Oh my god. Because who expects that? Who expects to just fly over the wall and walk into 4 people in a enemy bush? Like,
I kind of feel like they did though, because like everybody else, the Syndra, the Lee Sin were floating around that bush. They saw the Victor, they backed off, but then Zamundo's like, nah, I'm gonna go check it. I don't think they're here. Right into 4 members.
Yeah, who else but the Zamundo?
I guess. I mean, hey, at least it's on point with the rest of the series so far.
Yeah, he's doing a good job of staying true to his branding, but whether or not that is a detriment for his team this series, we'll have to see. As Bidling, we're already off to some very aggressive trading.
Yeah, and as we kind of highlighted too before, I think we're going to get a lot of the same from game 1 and 2. A lot of aggression, a lot of poking early on, a lot of fights and skirmishes early on. And whoever gets the gold is going to be the benefactor of that style of play. It is actually going to be the Dark Binding landing onto Pacey down here. But Senek Tahm Kench doing an okay job here at level 1.
Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting too, because Podrick did get that first split, so he is coming back with an advantage in the items. Got 2 potions and boots off that, which is going to be kind of nice in lane. Sure, the boots won't give you direct combat advantage, but having that extra bit of move speed to weave in and out of those tongue lashes from the Tahm Kench and any potential auto harass from the Senna, it's going to be nice. Still though, like you said, they are getting kind of pushed in, which isn't something I expected. I expected the Caitlyn Morgana to have a bit of an easier time just bullying out these 2 with their range, especially since Landon hasn't really gotten any souls yet, so he's only sitting on about 600 range.
Indeed, and has been a bit of a rough time there. Dark Binding gonna land as well, but gets out of the trap there. Beautifully done by Pacey to do what a support should be doing and try and save his ADC. As you're going to see a bit of a skirmish between the jungles here. Cindy Bell and Scouting Grounds just going at each other. Meanwhile, the mid laners are trying to position here, as Cindy Bell is not going to land the Sonic Wave, and is not going to be able to follow that up. But here, Scouting Grounds looking for an early fight, and going to get a lot of damage on Cindy Bell, who goes right into the waiting arms of Earl King, who has now picked up a kill, and they're going to continue on to Deddy the Panda. He's going to the Tahm Kench, going to be able to get out with a little bit of saving here. Scouting Ground is going to die off a little bit more here. There's a lot of damage as that's going to go through. Now Podrick is here. He's got the range. He's flashing forward. He picks up the kill, and it's all going over to Gas, who had picked up 3 kills already before 4 minutes. They are looking for more.
That is such a thunderous start to this game here from Gas, who, I mean, they've just been down on their luck for most of the series, but Podrick, he's now 2-0 on this Caitlyn, and Earl King 1-0-2 on this Victor. Both their carries are in very prime positions there, and Scouting Ground, he's even able to get 3 assists off of that and a stack for himself on this Kindred. So that means he's going to get to late game himself that much quicker, and it is going to diminish Cindy Bell's aggression potential here on this Lee Sin, just having to deal with that deficit in the gold. Still though, Cindy Bell should have an advantage, but he is getting caught out a little here.
Yeah, it's going to have a little bit of help there from Daddy coming through from the mid lane. First dragon is going to be coming up in 20 seconds here. It's going to be the Ocean Dragon, but meanwhile, we still have the fight going on here. Cindy Bell getting caught out yet again. And that's going to be Earl King taking the aggressive stance against Deddy there, but man, what a different jungle game this one from the others.
Yeah, and a 0-2 Lee Sin, that is not something we expected here from Cindy Bell, because he's been the proactive one all series long, and he is on the early game dominant champion who can really take over, but kind of been falling on his face a little flat so far with just that one scuffed gank, that one scuffed invade, and Scouting Grounds now ahead on this Kindred thanks to all the assists he's gotten.
Exactly. And do you see some use from Lee Sin going out the rest of the game, but you definitely don't like to see the 0-2, and you want to see some gold in the Lee Sin's pocket since he is that early game focused jungler. Now, is the Ocean Dragon going to be started here for Gas? We're going to take down this first objective for themselves in the first dragon in the series for them as well, as it is going to be a Infernal Dragon for the second one. So we're not going to get any spiciness here in the Soul department, but it can either be the Mountain or the Cloud.
Yeah. I mean, if you take a look at the items right now, it's a rather brutal difference that we see going on. Nearly fully completed jungle item here for Scouting Ground. So he's doing a lot, and if you look at the bot lane here too, Podrick, he has that full BF sword. And if you compare that to just the components, but here comes Scouting Ground.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get the angle here, trying to get the gank on, as Mundo and Beniona are going to go in on each other in the top side there. They weren't able to get anything just yet on the bot, as Scouting Ground's gank was not successful. And it was actually Deddy heading down that way to try and provide some support, but didn't need to, and heads right back to the mid lane. Ooh, that's going to be Beniona going in. That's going to be a kill. That is Poppy taking down Zamundo.
Zamundo having a hard time in lane for the first time this series with the Sylas, which is rather interesting. You think he would have gone for the Conqueror in this matchup just to have all that extra sustain and really help him survive out in these trades, but instead going for the Comet this game, and it's kind of been hurting him a little as we've seen Lemons, because he's not able to get that extra sustain in the fights, which helps out so much against these tanks.
Indeed, and tanks are going to be a rough time, at least in this game, as we don't have very many of them besides the Poppy and Tom Kent potentially, as they are going to be the beefiest members on both of these sides. It's going to be still a game of cat and mouse here on the bot side, though. No big CC chains landing just yet, but a lot of trade going over for the favor of Landon.
Yeah. The item differential is rather huge, and this Caitlyn is going to be outscaling. AC, he's got a little feisty here with that tongue lash and approaching very hard, but a 50 caliber net going to get Podrick on that one.
He is, as Beniona and Zamundo are still going at it here on the top lane. There is Scouting Ground, who is right nearby, potentially looking for something, but Zamundo is still playing very aggressively. He's going to get caught here by this engage by the Scouting Ground. That's going to be a slow coming down, but not going to be able to fully finish it off, as he's still looking for it. Doesn't want to go under tower, and Zamundo, even though he played so far up, is still going to get out.
Yeah, still though, I mean, forcing him to go back here, it is going to suck, because that is now a summoner down, and he won't have that the next time when we see Scouting Ground gank, assuming it is within the next 5 minutes. Granted though, able to get out with his life, and he still does have a CS lead in this lane, so that is helping neutralize the gold lead a little here. He is still down 600 gold, and that is a noticeable amount, but it could be worse. Cindy Bell, he's gonna find 4,000 IQ here.
Ooh, the Dark Binding goes onto the blue, though. Nicely done by Cindy Bell, who's now looking to turn it on here. Now that Tom Kench comes in as well, but not going to be able to get it. You got to be careful, because the root is available there as well. That is going to be a Dark Binding connecting onto Deddy. He's looking for the kills. He doesn't have it. Is he going to be able to get the damage? Podrick survives. That is a bit of an unfortunate situation, as the Unleashed Power was not used the most efficiently as it could, as Rift Herald's going to be used in the top lane here for Gas.
It's going to be a lot of damage on this top tower, even taking it down for the first tower pre-10 minutes, and that is the first time this series we've seen Gas get the first tower of the game, and the first dragon of the game too, so this is going so much better for them. And if you even look at the gold differential right now, they have a very sizable lead for this time in the game, Lemons.
They definitely do. And 5-0, no kills going over just yet to SBK, and a lot different of a game here. Zamundo's going to get caught out yet again. Kill going to go over. Lance Spike going to be used here, as well as the Dawning Shadow to follow it up. The heal coming through is going to save Zamundo for a little bit longer, but yeah, you've definitely dug yourself a hole here for FBK, and it's not anything like what we saw in game number 1 or game number 2.
They're very firmly behind right now, and there isn't really anyone winning currently. If you look mid lane, that is a huge CS differential, and there is still a kill to Earl King's name. Basically, he is going to land the Tongue Lash, but it is black shielded up, and 4,000 IQ going to be able to just scuttle on out of there.
Definitely that. That's great use of the black shield to stop that extra slow from coming through, and the engage from following that. As we're going to see some pings coming down onto the dragon pit here. It is the Infernal Dragon that is up, and both junglers are going to be hovering right around this area, going to see if they want to commit.
The top laner does have teleport for this, so we won't be seeing them if the dragon is engaged fairly soon. Granted, those Zamundo's teleport probably about a minute and a half off cooldown, so got a little bit of time. Still, look at Cindy Bell. He's sneaking his way in, but there is a ward in that push. Might see a 3v3 though.
Yeah, gonna have a lot of damage put on the Podrick, but Pacey is gonna be caught out here. Now it's gonna be Cindy Bell who's there, but Deddy in the mid lane has to flash. It's still gonna get chased down here by Earl King and gets taken down. As nothing happened in the bot side here, but it's gonna be Gas who are set up to take this dragon.
And that's just another solo kill in the mid lane here, basically, for Earl King. And he looked dominant game 1 on the Victor, and he's looking even more dominant this time around. Even into the Syndra, who should have a better time into the Victor compared to the Zir. And, I mean, take a look. 2 dragons up, you got that first tower, and all your laners have got kills in their pockets.
Yeah, it just is honestly feeling a bit hopeless here for this side of FTK, and really feeling good for Gas to be able to put on this kind of performance this early on in this game at least. They're going to get ganked here on the bot side. Landon's going to be the target at first, but the slow is enough. Now the TP coming through, that's going to be the root. That's a lot of damage on Scouting Ground, who's immediately going to actually not get focused by Deddy, who immediately uses the Unleashed power onto X Podrick, picks up that kill, and then slyly picks up the double kill.
That's why it's so hard to gank a Senna Tahm Kench lane. We saw it start off their 4,000 IQ using the Morgana ultimate to start it off, but we immediately see the Devour coming out from Pacey to keep his ADC alive, and then after that, even with all of that, just the utility, the heals, the shields coming out of this bot lane, keeping them alive for that teleport. Get this double kill from mid lane, but it's not over yet. Cindy Bell.
Zamundo just left Cindy Bell completely by himself, and is actually going to get the back off here because nobody has vision on that bush. And honestly, good call from Zamundo.
Yeah, I mean, if your jungler's already dead and you're 0-2 as Silas versus a 2-0 Victor and 2-0 Poppy, you probably don't win that. Just a hunch. So, still though, I mean, free pickup. Deddy has to be careful here.
Nah, it's gonna be Deddy going down here. There's too much damage to handle, but it actually might be a turn kill, but is gonna go golden, is 4,000 IQ. You're able to get out of that one. Looking to take the tower here, but might not have the damage just about there, as no more minions available for them. And that was a bit unfortunate because Deddy actually walked into that. And yes, they didn't see the Poppy all of that entire time behind them, but Deddy put himself in that predicament and goes down whole-handedly.
Just when he is able to kind of even up the kills on this Syndra, we see Earl King able to pick up another 2 on this Victor. He's now 4-0 and has 6 stacks on that little mini Mage Eyes of his. So this Victor is going to be hurting quite a bit.
Definitely is. That is going to lead into more strength around these objectives, which we have another dragon coming up in about 2 minutes and 20 seconds, which is going to be just a bit of a wait here for these teams. As you can expect, it's going to be Gas who want to put the first efforts into that dragon. As 4,000 IQ is going to get rooted up here, but too far for anything to be followed through with it.
A lot of posturing in this bot lane. Still though, I feel like both these bot lanes, they want to try and get a relatively free back somewhat soonish. Podrick, he is sitting on enough to complete his Storm Razor here, and Landon, I mean, he's getting fairly close to being able to complete an item of his own on this Senna. So, I mean, we're just kind of stuck in an awkward part where both of these sides are kind of shoving a little hard, but not going full on. Top lane though, we do have a bit of a fight brewing. Zamundo gonna miss the abduct.
Yeah, here goes the engage there by Beniona, who's on the Poppy and doing such a great job of chaining those abilities. Dawning Shadow comes in, but way too late, as the Rift Herald is looking like it's going to be started here by the side of Gas. And bot lane going to take some aggressive trading here as well, as Landon gets dropped to about half health.
Hopefully though, I mean, he is a Senna, so he is going to press the Piercing Light here fairly soon, get himself somewhat topped off. It won't be fully topped off, of course, but still.
Yep, exactly. As Rift Herald finally does go down, it is in the hands of Scouting Ground. And they're going to try and use that to get at least some more pressure in one of these lanes. But with that being said, looking at Symbiobell to try and get something going here, because their gold lead is starting to grow a bit, or gold deficit is starting to grow a bit here, as it's gotten a little bit more than 4K.
I see a potential fight here in the bot lane, though. There's the teleport. Look at Symbiobell.
It is going to be Symbiobell kicks Podrick right into the waiting arms there, but Earl King has finally arrived here. Pacey going to be the next to go down, as the Chaos Storm is going to follow through, and everything turns back on and bites FBK, as it is going to be huge pickups across the board for Gas.
Gas just planning that out so perfectly on the timing there. We saw 4 members converge on that bot lane. And even though they do lose Podrick, I mean, they're able to get 3 kills in return. Drop this Rift Herald. It's probably going to get them towards another tower in this game. That will knock down all the outers. And Scouting Ground, he's starting up this dragon, which will put them on Soul Point.
It will indeed, and feeling good with that extra magic resist as well, as nobody's going to try and come and contest this. And it's going to be another objective being taken for the side of Gas, who have been doing such a great job this game of controlling the map, and it all started with those early kills going over.
Yeah, just able to really hammer out a lead this time around and keep it going. And they're just able to capitalize off of the mistakes of FBK so hard this game. And it started level 1. But Landon and Pacey, they are going to find themselves a Poppy.
Yeah, they split up. You got to be careful, Landon. That is a fed Poppy. No mana, but so much health. You see, no matter how hard Landon tries to hit, it is not going to do much.
81 damage crit, by the way.
That feels so good.
Still, though, I mean, Landon can do some decent-ish damage to Benoina, thanks to the passive Ascena. If you do hit him twice, he will do some max HP damage, so it's something.
It is indeed, and now I have to say, I want to see Gas press the pedal just a little bit more. I mean, they're playing a little bit safe, but here comes the pedal, as 4,000 IQ is going to use everything he's got to survive a little bit longer against the Mundo, but still gets taken down. Don't know if it's worth, but at least it's something.
Yeah, 1-for-1 when you're behind, it is definitely worth, and I mean, you're a 1-4 Silas going against, what, 4 members there and getting us killed for yourself? That's pretty fun, even though you do use the flash, even though you do blow the ultimate. It's something, and what can Gas really get off the back of killing you? They can't get the top outer, there's no Rift Herald to pick up, and there's just nothing on the map for them to grab. So, overall, Zamundo doing his best there and able to at least eke out a small victory.
Yeah, they've kept this lead right under or around that 5K, which feels good to at least not get it further and further, as it is getting a bit rougher to play against these item spikes that are coming through for Gas, as we're going to see the top tower more than likely taken here by Beniona, who is slowly and finally gets the last hit on it, is going to go over. It is actually Scouting Ground waiting right here, see if Zamundo wants to go over. He doesn't care, he's going forward to get the engage, as the Lancer Spike's going to be taken by Zamundo. Is he going to be able to use it in time? Here it comes. That's going to be pushed out though, and just as you think it's going to work out, Zamundo gets taken down.
Zamundo, he kind of always plays like he's kind of fed, and it does bite him in the butt quite a bit. There's the Resonating Strike, but yeah. Keeper's Verdict gonna knock everybody on out.
Yep, beautifully done by Beniota, who is able to get the engage stopped there by FBK. And the entire time it has been Podrick on the bot side, pressing down the towers and getting even more fed.
That's one of the things you can do when you're this far ahead. You can just have one member constantly pushing one lane, and there's nothing really the enemy team can do about it, because at best they'll go even. Zamundo, though,
He's going to catch him. Flash immediately comes out, though, as Podrick realizes when he's in some trouble. We have pings coming down there, looking to try and get the angle on him, but Zamundo steps right into a trap. Here comes the rest of the side of FPK.
It's still going for this.
Zamundo going forward yet again. Here comes Cindy Bell on the backside. Not going to be able to connect, though. Earl King is able to go legendary. Viniona on a killing spree himself. And that's going to be Deddy picking up 4,000 IQ, but Pacey is looking dead next as Ace in the Hole is going to come through. Not going to pick up the kill just yet. Deddy is slowed, flashes over the wall. That's going to be Tom Kent going down, flash forward from Scouting Ground, who's going to be able to pick up that one. And this game is all gas all the way.
Yeah, just pedal to the metal extremely this game. Ping's coming out on Baron, it looks like, and we might see that come out with just how far ahead this squad is. And I mean, FBK, I'll give them credit where credit is due. They are trying to at least come back from when they're behind and not just roll over and die. But after Podrick flashed out and got into his jungle, you don't have to keep pursuing that. But instead, we see everybody from the side of FBK just funnel into that jungle kind of one by one-ish, and they all just die for that. The only thing they get in return is 4,000 IQ, but when you trade 5 kills and a Baron for that, that is not exactly a very good trade-off.
It is not. Now we see all 5 members Baroned up, heading down towards this dragon, which would secure them their soul here. It would give them that much more defensive capability to push into the base of FPK. And they have arrived. You see the side of FPK on the other side of the wall, but they aren't in a position to very well contest besides Cindy Bell going over the wall and trying to steal it.
That's kind of what they're having to hope for here, because if this dragon goes over to, oh my god, that's half of Landon's health. Before
that
this
was just one ability. Yeah, Chaos Storm gonna go through. Actually, missed time there. It is going to be picked up by Scouting Grounds. Now they're gonna try and continue the fight, but not going to be able to, as they're gonna try and stop Zamundo from picking up this top tower here, but use that Baron buff as much as they can in the mid lane.
Honestly, at this point, this game is gases to lose, because you're 9,000 gold up, everybody is winning, you have massively fed Victor. Like, they have to try to lose.
Yeah, you've got a 9k gold lead here for Gas. About in the same seat as they were last. Oh no, that's Zamundo getting caught out. Just trying to get a quick back there, I guess. But gets taken down now in the mid lane. We're gonna see a big fight go through as they were Pacey trying to engage, but here comes the TP from Viniona. Does have some extra speed there. Flash forward, the Dark Binding's gonna connect, getting eaten up though, and that's gonna be a bunch of damage going through X. Podrick is online, and they're gonna continue to try and chase, but not gonna be able to connect that Dark Binding. Viniona is still putting on the pressure, has his Black Shield up, so can play confidently. They're going to use this Baron buff to push these towers even more.
There's nothing FBK can do right now. With 2 members dead, just so much damage going on to their inhibitor and tower right now. Like, they just can't do anything. Look at that one Victor laser chunking out both Zamundo and Deddy. But here comes the fight.
That's going to be a big engage, but Deddy using Unleashed Power onto Earl King doesn't do anything there. They're going to continue to press this Baron buff into the enemy base. Viniona might get engaged on here. You do have Ace in the Hole available for Zamundo. That's going to be the re-engage here. A bunch of damage going through. You shouldn't have taken that fight, as Podrick is on a rampage, and now that they have been getting killed, they can just push to end the game. Ace in the Hole is going to come through from the Silas, but it's not going to do anything. And it's going to be gas, 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 baby, as they're going to take game number 3 and bring us to 2-1 in the series.
Just when we thought they were out, the past 2 games have been complete stomps, but this time around, it is the exact opposite of that. And Gas, they're able to completely stomp the competition. And it looks like they might have just figured out all the tricks that FBK have up their sleeves.
They might have, and next draft is going to be telling because we already see how this can go. And obviously, the early game for the Lee Sin was not there and is not the choice here. Hopefully, we get to see Landon and Pacey pick up something else on the bot side to maybe be a little bit more effective. But just an all-around great game from Gas.
Yeah, I mean, from level 1 instantly, they just kind of knew, like, hey, if we bait this out, they're going to get aggressive. And they got that first blood, and just off of that, they just kept punishing and punishing and snowballing, and look where we are now.
Exactly that, and I really hope to see Gas continue. And I want to see this Game 5 come to life here in the semifinals between these two insane teams, as now we have seen the greatness from both of these sides, and hopefully it all culminates in this game number 4. We just get a pitched battle on Summoner's Rift, but we're going to send it to a small little break while we get the next game set up for you, but you're not going to want to miss it as we have Game 4 coming right at you. We are back and ready for this draft of game number 4. Not exactly ready for what we're going to get, but we'll have to see, as we are already getting through the bans here for the first phase. We see Varus, Maokai, Pike again on the side of FBK. Graves, Olaf, Set on the side of Gas. Gas choosing to stay on the red side this time. So, hey, don't mess with something. Throw in something different. That's what I wanted to see. And we get it.
Oh, yeah, this is something new for sure. Because, I mean, FPK, they've been locking in the Senna Tom Kench all series long.
They have indeed. So this time we get to see Landon try out something different, something with a little bit more priority earlier on. I mean, not the greatest. Obviously, Aphelios has been heavily smacked down with the Nerf bat here the last couple patches, but still feeling pretty good. As the Nautilus Ashe is the response here from Gas as they pick up their bot lane in the first 2 picks.
That is interesting to say the least, because, I mean, Nautilus, he's a very hard all-in champion in that bot lane. But Ashe, she can't really all-in all that well in the bot lane, because she kind of lacks a lot of burst damage herself. She needs to stack up the focus to get that Q off and get the lethal tempo going, unless you want to go the Hail Blades build, but that's a different thing. And so they will be bringing a lot of utility and a lot of CC from this bot lane, however. So Gas, they're gonna probably want to look more towards mid, top, and jungle to carry. That's not to say that Ashe can't carry, it's just she is definitely a lot more utility focused than other AD carries.
I am so in love with FBK's draft so far. The Taric itself is going to be a menace in this game, Granterino. And pairing it up with this Jarvan that we've seen banned out last time around is going to be picked up this time for FBK. And I expect it to be a lot more efficient and effective than that Lee Sin that we saw last time on Cindy Bell, who had been having some great performances on Graves, but that Lee Sin performance was not one of those. As Victor is going to be picked up here again for Gas, staying with the comfort. And Silas was the first ban in the second phase for Gas to try and dwindle that mid and top pool a little bit more. Poppy going to be banned away here as it was super effective for Biniona last time as well.
Granted though, I think the Poppy did benefit a lot from the early kills and whatnot, since that did help propel him in the lane, and with Silas being behind, he couldn't really do anything, especially since he did go for the Comet Silas instead of the Conqueror Silas, so this ban isn't probably 100% needed, but still, it is definitely warranted, because we saw how strong it was last game.
So we've been seeing these random Shyvana bans, and yes, Shyvana is very strong, but they've already chosen Jarvan. So I feel like you're kind of wasting a little bit of the Shyvana ban, and you could have focused a little bit more on a solo lane, but maybe it's part of the grand plan. They just want to make sure that that champion is not used. As I gotta say, AP Shyvana is so unbelievably strong, and it is looking like the Gragas pickup for Gas, and finally we see this hugely meta champion come into this series.
Yeah, at least in the jungle role, because the jungle picks these past few games, they've kind of been all over the place. Like,
ooh,
around the world in 80 days. That Gangplank is something we have seen banned in the previous games, and
every game besides this one, I believe.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how Zamundo performs on this, because we've seen him in the previous few games on champions that all in, but Gangplank, he isn't exactly the champion that will dash in and try and kill you. He just try and whittles you down. He tries to get those favorable trades, stack up, get the gold, get the upgrades, get the grass procs, but it will be against a Gnar though, who can at least deal with the Gangplank in lane much better than melee, since having that ranged auto attack to take down the barrels is so huge.
Exactly, and that is going to be a very volatile matchup there in the top lane, especially favored for Gnar to an extent. But we have seen a lot of focus on the top lane from these junglers early on, so maybe we'll get the same here for this game number 4. And I did misspeak, it wasn't banned every other game, it was only banned the first 2 games, so it didn't get banned game number 3 for that Gangplank at least. But the composition that rounded out here for FBK is so lethal. And you have so much engage, so much CC, and you can just move your way around the map so efficiently. That does scare me for the side of Gas, who do have a very strong composition as well for themselves, but you need to be getting a little bit of gold under those belts and maybe getting a couple items for those, where I think that on the board with no items and kind of just going off of composition wise, FBK do look a little bit stronger.
Really like the Targ pick this time around for the First Blood Knights, because I mean, if you look at the gas composition, one good Cosmic Radiance can really screw over their team fight, because Nautilus, Ashe, Gragas, Gnar, Victor, they can all single out targets really well with their catch out CC abilities, but I mean, if you drop the Cosmic Radiance and it just says invulnerable, invulnerable, invulnerable as you're dropping everything on said player, that is really, really going to screw over any team fighting potential that Gas has. So they are going to have to be much more wise, much more patient with these huge cooldowns of theirs and how they pick their targets.
Yeah, and I want to see if we see a difference in the aggressiveness from these teams. We've seen Zamundo play so aggressive early on in these games and really just kind of overextend himself. And it's worked out occasionally, but it also didn't work out last game. And so gonna want to see if they change that up a little bit and if both teams come in with a little bit more of a defensive play style. But you have to think, Gas, this is still your neck on the line here in this game. If you do lose this, it's still going to be a 3-game win there or a 4-game win there for the side of FPK. And so you still need to be playing with a little bit of that extra confidence, trying to come back into the reverse sweep, but you also need to be very decisive on when you make those plays and not to overextend yourself.
I mean, granted though, they did do a lot different last game and it worked out so well.
They did.
Trying something again that's new this time around, it might work out again, because FBK, they're probably going with this draft thinking about last game like, oh man, what do we do differently? What do we try and counter that? But then Gas is just pulling a full 180 on them and going, you know what? We're doing something different this game.
Exactly. And I do find the Azir funny because it has been every game that Deddy has played Azir, they've won, and won pretty strongly. The one game he didn't play Azir, they lost pretty heavily, and it hasn't been the ultimates has been the kicker for the Azir. Maybe it's just the damage they're looking for and that extra scaling, because their team does scale super hard. But when you look across the board here at the other side of Gas, you do have a lot of strength. If Gragas can get some gold, he becomes such an AP monstrosity. He can blow up all of these squishy members, and the only thing that will save you would be the Taric.
Yeah, and the Cosmic Radiance, it does have that huge wind-up time where you can see it coming. Everyone who has played at least a few games against Tark knows that you can see it coming from a decent mile away. Like, you can't do anything to stop it usually unless you can somehow burst someone out, but you do have the time to react to it. So, and if you look at Gas's side, they do have the tools to at least kite away from it, because even with the Tark ultimate down, you are still affected by CC, so if Gas drops the CC and is able to kite out this FPK team comp, then they don't really have to worry about everyone being invulnerable.
Exactly. And I really did want to take a little bit of a look here at the side of Gas and look at their teamfight ultimates and just see that their teamfight around the pit for the first time, honestly, in this series is just feeling so good. And you're going to have a lot of strength when you pull all those pieces together around those crucial dragon fights that we've seen have kind of started to lead down in these games to where we see the winner coming away with the objectives early on. And I want to see if that continues here in game number 4. And if we're going to get to go to that lovely game number 5, if Gas can show us what they've got. But we're going to see on the other side of this break while we get through spectator delay. So don't go anywhere. I know it's been a long one so far already, but go grab some snacks, go grab some drinks, and get ready for this game number 4. And we are back and on to Summoner's Rift for the fourth game of this semifinals between Gas and FBK. See some pings coming down yet again from the side of Gas, who are looking to get an early start like they did last time. And I don't think Zamundo is going to make the same mistake.
Yeah, he doesn't exactly have the Silas abduct to go over walls, but we might see something spicy here. Deddy has to be a little careful. He is decently far back, though, so you should see this coming from a mile away.
He's walking forward, though, a little bit. He's got the angle. Dredgeline is going to be there as well. And I just have to say, another first blood going over to Gas early on. They pick up a kill for themselves.
I don't know what that pathing was, because Deddy saw them coming from a mile away. All he had to do is walk into river and, if needed, flash over that wall, but instead he decides the move is to just path right in front of them and not even try and flash that Nautilus hook. So that is so costly, because that's going to give Benoina a nice little advantage early on in his top lane. Has the control ward, has that cloth armor. That's just going to give him that extra bit of tankiness, that extra bit of safety in this laning phase.
Exactly that. And Beniona going to start off right on the Gnar and be able to have a little bit more focus onto this Gangplank, who's going to give him a nice little greeting here to start off the laning phase. Just says hi, wants to know that I see you with that kill, and it doesn't matter because I'm still going to bully you.
Yeah, that's Gangplank for you. He gets that level 1 cheese off and the brush, able to proc the passive, able to proc a bunch of autos, and the grasp, and the parlay, so that is a very huge advantage early on in this lane, and Benoina, he's got to be feeling good that he did get that early kill, just for that little bit of extra health with that cloth armor.
Definitely does, and Deddy is heading up against Earl King here because he knows that Jarvan is right there, but Jarvan isn't going to help him, because he doesn't have the engage just yet that he wants to. And that was the moment, honestly, for Cindy Bell to call off the red take and kind of go help his teammate there. They would have been able to take him down, except the flash could have been there as well, but they decide not to. They do get the red buff for Cindy Bell, who's going to take that extra little farm. Did take it right out from the nose of Scouting Ground as well.
I think that's still a little bit of an advantage here. Earl King is going to be forced out of lane. He's going to be forced to take a bit of an awkward path back to lane, lose a bit of CS potentially. But if you look in the mid lane here comes Scouting Ground. He might go for a potential gank. Deddy, though, he is going to sniff it out on the Sazir, though, and fall for that.
Yeah, good plays, honestly, coming out here from both teams. The first one, definitely not Deddy getting caught out by the dredge line. That was kind of just knowing that it was going to be there, and transitioning that into more of a defensive play here for both sides, honestly. You do have a bit of aggression coming out from Zamundo, but he's not playing as hard-handed as he did last game, at least.
Yeah, because this time around on the Gangplank, all he has to do, I mean, Gangplank scales fairly well. We all know that, especially once he hits that Triforce, and maybe even the crit afterwards. All he has to do, just farm up in the lane. It's relatively free. You can get the grass procs, and just farm on up. Get a bunch of health and takiness too.
Got a flash over the flag and drag. Does get out of there without taking that extra stun here on the bot side. It's going to be Pacey getting engaged on. Gonna get the stun back onto 4,000 IQ. Bunch of damage being put down from the Severum of Landon, but Pacey going to be taken pretty low as well.
Yeah. At least a trade back, and Pacey able to at least preserve a lot of health thanks to the rock above the aftermarket. Cindy Bell forced to flag and drag it out.
Yeah, did have to flag and drag that one. Did not. Good job of kind of staying a little bit healthy there, but it was Gas who picked up the Scuttle Crab, so they get the vision in front of the dragon, and we get a pause here.
Yep. Looks like there's a little bit of ping issues here for the side of FBK, so just gonna try and sort that out. Don't want to be losing game off the back of ping issues.
Definitely not. And we do see on the countdown here that dragon is going to be coming up in 36 seconds. It's going to be an ocean dragon for this game to start us off, so still have potential of having the spicy fire drake as our soul at some point, but we'll have to wait to find that one out. But looking at the game right now, we have a very, very even game state. One kill having gone over at level 1 to Beniona. who was able to secure that one with the rest of his team onto Deddy the Panda, and that set them up here, but nothing else has come of it. And that's a bit different for this series, as we've seen so much blood being spewed everywhere on Summoner's Rift before 5 minutes even.
Yeah, because, I mean, even last game, I think we had, like, what, 3 or 4 kills before 5 minutes? Much more different game, but, I mean, we can see it this time around. There's much more restraint on both sides here, and everyone's just playing much more of a normal laning phase rather than a kill or be killed sort of laning phase.
Yep, and honestly, I'm fine with it. I want to see these teams kind of scale up and get to more of those team fight situations, because we've seen a lot of skirmishing in these games, and that has led to a lot of leads being gained by these teams, and it kind of just all snowballs from there, as it tends to do in League of Legends. But with everything else, I did want to highlight we're still early on, so we still have a chance to talk about the keystones going into this game, and now that we have a little bit of time, I do want to talk a bit about them. And we do see the Aftershock having been taken by Pacey with the Taric, which, as you were saying in the break, is not something you normally see.
Yeah, because you usually see the Guardian, and I feel like in this match too, it'd be much more important, since that extra bit of shield for your AD carry with all the things that are going to be jumping onto land in this time around is going to be very crucial. But I mean, the Aftershock is still at least a usable rune. It definitely does help. We've seen it in a few trades so far where the Aftershock procs and Pacey really doesn't take any damage.
Yeah, it can be a very tricky one, and honestly, it's a bit interesting that both of these teams all of a sudden are playing so defensively and so far back, not playing like these under towers at level 4 that we've been kind of seeing so far. And looks like we're back into the game here. Luckily, it was a quick little pause getting through some of those lag issues for the sides.
Yeah, because those can often take a lot of time up if you have to reset a few things just to try and figure out what is messing with your game. Thankfully, though, this one's rather short, as we go back to top lane where it is just the standard Zamundo pressing Q to proc grasp and get a bunch of health and farm up a bunch of parlay gold.
Yeah, he's going to get a nice little crash here onto Beniona's tower. Going to have to back, though, or at least attempt to play a little bit more defensively, because he's super low on health as well. And Dragon is up here. Don't believe we're going to see an early take this game, at least, as it is actually a very, very strong push from every lane for FPK here, as they are getting huge crashes across the board.
And I mean, bot lane, it's been mostly pushing for them all series with the Senate on Kench. But if you look in the mid lane, that is actually a huge differential, because Hook actually landed with the Cosmic.
Yeah, 4,000 IQ, gonna get dropped super low though. That's the thing about Nautilus, is once you do the engage, once your Aftershock goes off, you really don't have much after that to follow it up, and your health just starts to get dropped. And so that little engage there, they waited out the damage reduction and were able to get, oh my goodness, Beniona is gonna have to be careful. He's gonna go with Meganar, but he still doesn't have a lot of health here. Zamundo has a huge minion wave going on to him, and Cindy Bell is not going to be able to get the engage there.
Yeah, I mean, you're a level 4 Jarvan. If you try anything funny under that tower, Beniona is immediately gonna use the Gnar there and just fling you into the wall and get an easy kill. Zamundo wasn't level 6 at that time either, so didn't have the cannon barrage to really help secure that kill, because that giant slow field would have really hampered Beniona, or at least forced him to flash. Either way though, I mean, nearly killing the enemy top laner and forcing him to back, it is at least a minor advantage.
Indeed it is, as there is a good amount of pressure being put forth now for the side of Gas, who were able to get their sides pushing. It's just going to be that give and take here at this point in the game, because nothing too much is going on, not a lot of gold given over to either side, in very even game state, which is something very different for this series.
In the previous series, before 10 minutes, It's at least, like, it could be kind of even, but it'd be very bloody and there would be someone just snowballing so hard. But this time around, we only have that one kill from that level 1 cheeky cheese. So it is only a few hundred gold separating these two teams, and that is going to be very interesting to see how that pans out for the rest of the game, because, I mean, we've seen the previous 3 games, Lemons. We know how action-packed they've been.
Yeah, exactly. And this whole thing has just been such a difference here. And I want to see the moment where we do see the kind of flip switch here for both teams. And it seems like it's starting to switch here for Gas, who are going to start up this dragon and take the first dragon of the game. And it is going to be that ocean dragon for them. Unfortunately, though, I have some bad news. Our script did not maintain, and it is not going to be an Infernal Dragon Soul. His next dragon is going to be Infernal.
Set up, Daddy.
Yeah,
I have to show him a couple.
Oh, he gets the spider knot, but doesn't connect it onto Daddy. He goes to the tower instead and takes some huge shots to the back as he's trying to walk away.
Yeah, doesn't take too much for it though. Daddy didn't really have any mana to try anything too fancy there. Just had enough to get out and a little bit left in the tank. Does mean though that Podrick, he is going to be alone in this bot lane and is going to miss out on some CS. Not going to be the end of the world though, thankfully for this Ashe.
Thankfully, as I do have to say, I love Ashe. I love seeing her be able to gel a little bit in the laning phase. But Taric and Aphelios are definitely making that a hard time, as Zamundo is going to get traded onto very hard. Cindy Bell's going to walk straight into scouting grounds here, and that's a Gragas with a lot of AP as well. Casket goes out, not going to be able to get Zamundo, as they're going to try to follow this through. Cataclysm comes through. Beniona's stuck, but he didn't do any damage to anybody, as Cannon Barrage went down as well. The stun is not going to connect onto Podrick, and now the turnaround is going to be there. Cosmic Radiance as well. Cindy Bell is going out. We're still in the fights up here, as it's a 1-for-1 so far. It's going to be Gnar who goes down next. Kills going over to Zamundo, as Danny the Panda has arrived, was not able to land the stream of shuffle, but is able to stop them from further following up onto Zamundo. Meanwhile, on the bot side, a lot used. All ultimates except for the Moonlight Vigil, and they weren't able to get kills either way. It's 2-2, neck and neck here, Granterino.
At First Blood Knights, they played that top lane so perfectly there, because, I mean, Zamundo, he was so low in that. Thankfully, though, Benoina didn't have that Gnar ultimate, and that would have been such a huge turnaround. They're able to just juggle it so well, because Zamundo, he was taken down to sub 100 HP by Scouting Grounds Casket there, but the Cataclysm able to block out that Gragas, and they're able to just dance around the tower aggro and make it a 2-for-1 in the end there, and that is such a huge thing when you consider how much time, how much resources were committed by the side of Gas to try and get that. And then they just come out on the sour end. Granted, though, if you look at the gold,
Black Forest. It's going to be a lot of damage. But 4,000 IQ bit off way more than he could chew. Here comes the TP coming down now. Another one as well is going to join, but it was actually going to be Landon going in. That's the Emperor's Divide going to push back Beniona. Now the Casket goes through, and the fight is actually going in favor of Gas here. As now it's Pacey and Landrin who are taking the fight to the trio here. They didn't realize that Victor was on his way though, and now are trying to take the 2v3 and are trying to their darndest, but are not going to be able to. It was the roam top by Cindy Bell who left everyone on the bot side all by themselves, and it comes out in favor of Gas. Meanwhile, the Rift Herald was taken, and Cindy Bell is looking to use it the top side.
This could be very huge. There are still tower platings, and they can very easily get this first tower here, because this Rift Herald, it's going to knock off 2 plates for them, and the last plate should be easy enough for them to grab. So they're able to win out on that, and that is a huge takeaway from this, because even though they did lose the team fight, they do at least win the objective and don't hemorrhage anything else off of that. They don't even lose the bot tower. They only lose 2 platings off of it. There's no dragon to take either here. So, other than IQ, he's going to miss the Nautilus hook, actually, and take a decent chunk of damage. We'll have to see if the Panda is able to come in on this one.
Oh, Depth Charge is going to be used. Does get the double knockup, but that's going to be a bunch of damage. Here comes Spider Knot trying to get out. That's going to be the Blast Brush. Is it going to be enough? Tracy looking to chase it down here. Does have the angle. You have Aphelios coming around the other side, but it's not going to be enough. That's going to be a lot being put down. Zamundo finally able to find that kill as Cannon Barrage was used across map.
Yeah, and that is a lot.
He's gonna get body slammed real quick. That was super close to being a lot worse than it was.
Yeah, I mean, that Gragas flying out of the bush, he has everything up, although the casket wasn't actually up for that, so couldn't try a full combo. Still though, a very scary prospect.
It definitely is, and you never want to face check into a team that does have an AP Gragas who has actually been doing some work here for their side. As you see both junglers still focusing around the spot side, those lasers are starting to put in some real work on the Deddy the Panda, who's not having the greatest year game this time, as he has been having some good games thus far into this series. But Dragon is up now, both teams floating around this area. You see a bit more of a commit, more than likely coming through here for Gas, who has 4 members floating around the pit.
And, I mean, this Dragon is going to be fairly big for the rest of this game, because it is an Infernal Dragon. Both these teams would really want that extra bit of oomph on their damage dealers, and also for the soul. But it does look like Gas, they are the first ones to this. And is there any contest? Nope.
Yeah, it does look like they are able to take that one down. There's going to be a second Dragon secured here. It goes on to Beniona. Zamundo getting a little bit low there, but yeah, able to pick up the second Dragon of the game was Gas, who made the move, made the effort. It was actually Cindy Bell still doing their red buff while the Dragon was being taken, so no positioning there for the jungle of FBK to get into it. Here we see Sounding Ground again putting some more focus onto the bot side as well.
Yeah, and one thing to point out about that Dragon fight is that Cindy Bell, he did kind of want to contest, but he did get a little zoned out. A bunch of abilities did hit him, and he couldn't really do anything there, so just opting to go out. Still, though, I mean, FBK, it was a decent amount of resources invested, because they just kind of fiddled around that Dragon for a bunch of time to get nothing whatsoever off the back. They didn't even really try anything for the most part after they got zoned out, so it's basically just a free pickup here for Gas. Granted, though, I mean, while that was all happening, we saw in the top lane Zamundo, even though First Blood did go over to Benoina, we see the CS lead and a gold lead very heavily in the favor of Zamundo, who has roughly 1,500 gold up on his competition thanks to the CS, thanks to the parlay, and that might be a very huge thing come later in the game. Although we do have a Rift Herald.
Yeah, Rift Herald is up. It is going to be started here by the side of Gas, and they have the positioning, they have the angle. You have 4 members here with Zamundo heading this way. TP is not available just yet, though. Pacey is going to get slowed down. Here comes the Moonlight Visual as well as the Cannon Barrage. Could be a lot of damage going down. Cosmic Radiance used early, but Cindy Bell hops out of it. He goes in with the Cataclysm. It's going to be the follow-up by Pacey, but now the beautiful Mega Gnar onto the back line is going to get landed off of the map. Zamundo's running for his life. That's Deddy running as well. And that is going to be a clean fight picked up and taken by Gas.
Yeah, just very easily able to pick up 2 kills off the back of that and the Rift Herald. So this can really help them break open this series, as they are going to start channeling it in the mid lane, and there doesn't really seem to be anything to stop it. The most that could happen is Zamundo dropping barrel over the wall and maybe clearing out that minion wave, but there is another one just coming in right now, and that's just instantly killing the tower.
Yep, and they're going to get a lot out of this as well, and going to get a nice little reset for themselves to spend all of that gold. It is going to be a Cloud Dragon Soul for this game. So we're going to see some nice little ultimate cooldowns, and as soon as you start getting that onto X-Podrick, that ultimate is going to be super useful.
I mean, it is such a pick machine. Plus also, he's going for the Essence Reaver this game, which means an even lower cooldown on that Ashe ultimate. And if you do get enough Cloud Dragon stacks, and if you do get enough CDR on the Ashe, you can have a sub 40 second ult. Zamundo, he is fancying a little bit of action in this top lane, but not gonna really get anything out of it before he strikes.
Yeah, just trying to kind of farm up here is the Gangplank, and honestly the rest of the team for FBK, they have some serious scaling elements, but they're starting to give up these mid-game fights, which are going to be in the favor of Gas here, and they've got to make the decision not to take these overextended fights. Here comes the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. It's going to get a nice little stun onto Landrin, who's going to have to flash. Here comes the stun back in return from Pacey. So that's going to be a bunch of damage from the chakrams being put down on the 4000 IQ. They aren't able to get the power either, though, and a kill goes over, as that was Pacey going down.
That is a very, very big tempo pickup here for the side of Gas, because not only do they deny that tower, not only do they get the kill off the back of it. Oh my god, here's the big one.
Well, that's going to be 4000 IQ going down to Landon, who the entire time is just sitting there like, this was completely planned. We were going to give up Pacey. We were going to go for the kill here. As now it's going to be Landon who's going to be in some trouble. He gets the tower down. He's going to focus on the scouting grounds now, but he's got Podrick on the backside doing so much to him. Now Cindy Bell has to split focus. That's going to be the standard, picking up one. Flash forward for the second. And that's going to be a beautiful outplay from Cindy Bell, who just had to use the flash with everything else to end his arsenal.
Yeah, and that is a nice pickup here for FBK. Able to get that double kill. Cindy Bell has to be careful here. Eats up the death spray.
Okay,
should have the flag goes in. Actually, does have Pacey on the back end though.
He is here. He is doing the damage. That's the stun up. That's the CC, but they can't follow it up. As now the dragon is spawning. Pings coming down, but they don't have very much health and don't have very much healing either. As TP now being used by Earl King, who also doesn't have a lot of health. That was literally just mind games, Granterino. He TP'd in with less than a quarter health.
Mundo,
it wasn't the TP from... I'm so sorry. He TP'd back, apparently. I apologize. As he did get back. Now the TP actually coming through here from Zamundo. And now it's a 5-man fight for FBK if they want to try and take it. Cindy Bell is still very low here, and it's going to be getting poked down even more. They've got a split front here. This was a bad situation to be in for FBK. Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to go through, as well as to land onto Deddy as he goes down to the Gragas barrel. And now Zamundo is trying to do all he can against Earl King, but the dragon is going down. Are we going to see the epic steal from Cindy Bell?
He's gonna have to try and pull out something epic here, because he just lost 2 kills and you don't want to be losing anything else. Nothing coming out of it though, as Cindy Bell's just gonna turn to the red buff, giving up on that entirely. Still though, absolute travesty for the side of FBK there. They try and just do some sort of half spirited engage there, half attempt on the dragon, and it cost them so much there.
Yeah, it really did, and that's going to be Gas put onto Soul Point here, and they have taken the forward step. They aren't in the gold lead just yet, but they've been taking the fights back to back.
Yeah, and it's kind of looking a lot like last game, because this game is just kind of seeming to go continuously in the favor of Gas. Granted though, the gold lead is much more different this game. There's no real clear leader, and technically speaking, by pure gold standards, FBK is in the lead. Granted though, I mean, there is the 3 dragon buffs on the side of Gas, so it isn't a 1-to-1 ratio. I mean, still though, this can be anyone's game. It just feels like Gas has control over the tempo, and tempo can really be what decides a lot of games.
Yeah, and it's been what's decided a lot of these games so far in this series. And here we are in game number 4. Little did we know it's going to be just as important. And now that we've seen both these teams come together, and definitely see a advantage being put down for the side of Gas in these big fights. But now it's going to be the root coming through, flag and drag into the Cataclysm onto Earl King, and it's going to actually go down. But the Enchanted Crystal Arrow does give them a pause moment to think about it. They are going to pick up that kill and go mid here, and that's the pick that you're looking for in a situation like this for the side of FBK.
Yeah, and it is going to help him a decent bit in clawing back some control over this game, but 4000 IQ potentially looking for a hook here.
Yeah, he's looking to go in onto Cindy Bell here, who they've caught. He's going to try and flag and drag, does have the angle there. He's going to get out, no further follow-up needed, as now it's going to be a focus onto the mid lane by Pacey and Landon, who realized that now that everybody's missing in the enemy jungle, they might as well back off.
Back off. No need to go too aggressive. We've seen how that goes. Granted, though, we are going to have to cut it to a short 30-second break here on the disc while we get something sorted out, but don't go anywhere because we will be right back.
And we are back and on to Summoner's Rift here. We are getting back into the action. Sorry about that, just had to deal with a little bit of a technical issue. But we are going to see this game played out here. We do see Baron up, a lot of vision around it here for the side of Gas. And 2 minutes till another dragon comes up. Can't expect that to be a heavy focus for Gas, as they're one dragon away from the soul.
The First Blood Knights, they're gonna have to pull out something different for this next dragon fight or be all on the same page, because they've just been handing over these dragons mostly for free the past few times. And I mean, last time around when we saw them contest, it was kind of a bit of a stretch to call it a contest because it was very half-hearted. Granted though, this time around there is a lot more on the line, and a Cloud Soul going over would make a huge difference this game, as we do see a lot of posturing in this mid lane.
Yeah, but it's Azir pushing down the bot tower by himself. They do get that second tier tower, and that's a big deal when Dragon's coming up, because that gives you that much more freedom on that side of the map. As Samundo's going to go right up against this scary Catman. He's going to be able to get a lot of damage down before the Mega Gnar is put away. And it's going to be a quick little move by Beniona. It's going to get a good trade back onto him. He's all alone here. This is going to be a full-on 1v1. Cannon Barrage comes through. Zamundo is going to get taken. He actually pulls it out. Beniona gets taken down in return. Zamundo gets out with less than 100 health. And we have to engage in the mid lane. That's going to be a huge Cataclysm coming down, as well as the Cosmic Radiance. And a bunch of damage coming out. Landon is online now. As Cindy Bell stunned up by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. But it doesn't matter. Landon is just swiping away. Ooh, Cataclysm, or the Chaos Storm comes out a bit late there. Just trying to get some more damage down. Definitely would have been more useful a little bit earlier on. But here goes he goes golden. That's going to be Landon following it up with even more damage here. Flash is forward for the kill.
And Cindy Bell playing with fire there. Had it not been for that stopwatch, oh, he's going in even more.
Doesn't even care. Double kill going over. Landon is turning on the gas here and is not stopping for anybody, as it is going to be FBK who continue to follow these crazy plays up, and it doesn't matter what happens.
Yeah, Daddy gonna have to Shurima shuffle on out, but Matt fully in control of the First Blood Knights right here. They have only 2 members standing between them and this dragon. No smite and no real potential for contest. So this is going to be a huge, huge blow to the side of Gas, taking out a lot of steam that was in their pockets, because we had that 1 versus 1 in the top lane. We had that beautiful engage in the mid lane. And then we just had that series of picks by the mid lane, and then that pickup of the dragon. And now we have 4,000-ish gold separating these two teams, or 5,000-ish.
And it is so crazy, the series of events that we've seen unfold before us in the last couple minutes. Just absolute insanity.
Yeah, and if you look at the side of FBK, there's been some KDAs slowly creeping up. Zamundo 4-0 on this Gangplank. Landon 6-3 on this Aphelios. Like, that is a huge, huge setup for going into the late game.
Yeah, and it is going to be a very, very crazy game to finish us out here, as We are going to be hitting that 26-minute mark right now, and it's a big point in the game for these teams as the Dragons are getting stacked up here. Got 4 minutes for the Cloud Dragon to come up, and now we're going to see another 1v1 between Beniona and Zamundo. And it was so close last time, I don't even know who to go for anymore. As it's going to be Zamundo who's getting poked down here very, very heavily. Might need to be careful. Does have a lot of the healing there. But it's going to be Beniona taking the aggressive stance. Cannon Barrage comes down. The healing isn't there, but the damage is for Beniona, who's able to pick that one up. Now we're seeing the reverse side of it as it's Casey getting caught out next.
Oh my god, and just beautiful picks here for Gas. And are they looking for Baron? That might be the call here. Sure, there's an enemy smite to be dealing with, but there's only 3 members for FBK currently up, and they are trying to ward off all zones here. Daddy, though, it looks like he's trying to set up a flank here. The hook lands!
They're able to get the Moonlight Vigil! Oh my god! Landed, you are a monster! Oh, and Karen, more Cataclysm goes down. They have the follow-up land and just blasted away over here. And they're able to pick up another kill off the back of that want-to-be Baron by Gas.
That was such a huge turnaround because we saw the hook land onto Cindy Bell and everybody peel off that Baron. And probably everyone, including ourselves, Lemons, thought, oh man, this is going to be an absolute devastation here. But Cindy Bell, he had the Flag and Drag queued up, so he's able to get out of that one with that huge Moonlight Vigil.
He's gonna burn this Granterino.
Yeah, and the back is canceled from Beniona. He's gonna have to hop over the wall, but he can't really do anything to stop this. There's no jungler to contest this, and that Baron is falling to Hawkshot. It's gonna show this happening, but it's not gonna be able to do anything to stop it, and now the Baron and a firm lead here in the pockets for FBK.
And I just have to go back to the fade-away Moonlight Vigil from Landon right in the middle of a fight that no one has business of taking for the side of FBK. And it literally just destroyed the health bars. Everyone was grouped up, and that is what initiated the continuing fight from Cindy Bell to follow it up with the Cataclysm. And just a great call afterwards from FBK, who moved around the map, took the objectives that they needed to, made the call on the Baron just now while everybody was backing from Gas, and just excellent timing coming out from this team.
Yeah, and this could end the
Landon. That's going to be a big one. Cosmic Radiance isn't going to save you today. He goes down to the CC chain.
And that is one thing we're talking about a lot in Champion Select here, Lemons. Sure, the Cosmic Radiance, it can be game-changing. It can save everyone on your team, but that wind-up time, it is long enough that a lot of things can happen, and Scouting Ground more than easily able to pick up the kill in the time it takes to channel that huge ultimate.
Exactly that,
Eddie. He has to get out here.
He's trying to back here. We're gonna just see if he can. He actually does get out of there. And now Dragon coming up in 40 seconds here, just about. And we're gonna see both teams heading down this way. TPs are available for the top laners, not just yet for Beniona, but will be available when that Dragon comes up as well. So could see a big 5v5 fight. We're gonna see Daddy Panda go into the mid lane, try and push that out so they can get this vision game going on the bot side of the map.
Still a Baron buff here for First Blood Knight, so that will give him a lot easier of a time in pushing up lanes and getting prio in them. And that is something that Gas is going to have a bit of trouble dealing with. And all the vision that Gas had put on the Dragon, save for basically inside that pit, is mostly gone.
Indeed it is, as they're actually going to angle here. You got to watch for the dredge lines. That's going to be an immediate engage onto Landon. That's going to be the cast going through, but the flash forward is going to get him out. The Moonlight Vigil with the fade away there as he pulls the trigger and takes down the enemy jungle. And now they have a huge fight ahead of them. It's a 4v3, but members are so low for the side of FBK, but they're looking to go in. They've got the engage onto Beniona. That's going to bring down the numbers. They're going to continue it onto the rest of the members. They're getting stunned up because they're walking right into the field, but they turn onto the Dragon here, and it is 2 members that just have to sit there and wait and watch from the side of Gas.
Yeah, and there's one thing I want to turn our attention to in that fight, because while a lot did happen there, one thing crucial was Beniona, he teleported in, he had the Megan arm, was all geared up to go, but Zamundo was able to distract him, and we didn't see that huge Gnar ultimate. And when Beniona was finally able to go in and help his team, he was just in that mini Gnar form, and we saw how fast he evaporated. So that was such a huge thing taken off the table. Zamundo though, there's the arrow.
Oh, fancy feet. Gotta love it. So, one thing I want to point out there, Granterino, and it was a big deal, is the fact that Landon was not supposed to get out of there. He got very, very lucky. What happened is that Scouting Ground hit his barrel, or through his barrel, then hit his Go Golden, was not able to pop the barrel while Landon was coming out onto it, and Landon flashes out very, very quickly to get out of it before it can be popped. So that was a huge pivotal play for Landon, who then turns around after that one, just long shots the Moonlight Vigil. If you can't see, I'm doing a bow and arrow stance with my arms right now. And just is able to pull it down for his team in that fight. And that is just the little things that mean so much in these pivotal fights.
It's the very small things that can really determine the fate of a game. And when you have these late game nerves on your hands, because keep in mind, this is the semifinals. Like, whoever wins this, they go on to the finals and have a chance to win this whole entire thing. And when you're this far into the series, when this has already happened, like, keep in mind, this series started over 3 hours ago. Like, there was a lot weighing on the minds of these players. So even small things like that could be a result of just how long this series has been going on, and just people edging a little too far, trying to be a little too cautious, or trying to be a little too much of a hero. And I feel like that can really decide this game here, because 32 minutes in, going on 33, this game is still anyone's for the most part. Sure, there is a bit of a decent gold lead here for First Blood Knights, but it's not that huge. There's the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, gonna be a fat mess though. Barrel!
Gasket goes through. Cosmic Radiance is going to go down as a panic button there. Cindy Bell wants to engage with it, but is not going to be able to. It's a lot of ultimates used on both sides. And yeah, this is going to be the longest game of the series. And there's a big reason why, is both teams just playing extremely protectively around themselves, making sure that they're not getting caught out here and there, and not playing it the same as the other games have gone.
Because, I mean, funnily enough, even though there are a total of, 34 kills this game, this is like the lowest kill game of the series, even though it's the longest game. And it kind of really speaks to how the players have been playing much more carefully this series, because there haven't been many situations where, like, you got caught out there, like, that was way too risky of an all-in. No, it's like,
although that was like the biggest trend for the first 3 games. It was like, who's going to go in this time? Now we don't see anybody going.
Good lord, and neither of these teams want to really screw up at this point, because Baron is on the table, and whoever gets this Baron really controls the pace of the game for the next bit. And First Blood Knights, they're doing this, but there is a ward, so this is spotted out. Here comes Scouting Ground.
The Azir, though, it's burning. That's going to go down. Is the steal going to come through? It's actually Landon picking it up. Now the fight's going in favor of the side of FBK, who are taking down the members of Gas one by one. Double kill for the ADC of FBK, Landon, and another kill going over. Zamundo able to pick up that one. They take Baron, and now they're looking at the base of Gas.
That was such a big gamble from the First Blood Knights. They were betting the house, they're betting the family, they're betting the car, they're betting everything in their mortal possessions for the next 200 years to come, and they somehow come out on top of that. Because had that Baron been stolen, this would be a very different situation, but they're able to get the Baron. And then it was a 5 versus 3 in the Baron pit. It was Earl King and Parker. Yeah, they had to walk around the Baron pit to even get into that fight. So, we're just going to see the potential under the game here.
They love to take down the towers. At least it's going to be Zamundo trying to take down the Nexus. He's going for kills now. 4,000 IQs trying to make it happen, but he's getting melted by this Azir. Why don't you just go for the Nexus, my friend? As you're not going to be able to take it anymore. They have come back alive. There are 3 of them here. Flash forward from Deddy, but he's going to go down. Emperor Survive's not going to hit. Beniona just says, I'm going to hit the stop move real quick. No big deal. Dab on him, as there's going to be a big defense here for the side of Gas. It is not over yet, but it is looking dire.
But there's still 30 seconds for every one of the dead members here for the First Blood Knights. And I mean, we're on sole point here for gas. We already see Scouting Ground, Benoina, they're coming down to grab this. There's no contest. Pacey, he's not going to be able to stop this. So even though they did bleed heavily, they lost basically almost their entire base, save for that bot lane inhibitor tower and inhib. They're gonna have the soul here, and that can be very crucial if they're able to just last out these two downed inhibs, because there's no Baron buff to really worry about here, as everyone with it basically died except for Pacey, and the next Baron's not up for basically another 4 minutes.
Yeah, Cloud Dragon Soul picked up here for gas. It's going to give them that extra little bit of movement speed and that extra bit of the cooldown reduction on the ultimates. Ash's Enchanted Crystal Arrow sitting at about 51 seconds here. So that's going to be a big one. But we did see it miss last time, and it kind of led down the hole of losing the entire base. So you got to be real careful about that one and how you use it here, as the next big fights are going to be crucial.
Because, I mean, granted, we've been kind of saying that a bit this entire game here. Lemon's like, oh man, this fight around the dragon, this is going to decide the game. Oh, whoever gets this Baron is going to blow the game wide open. But, I mean, look at the current state of the map. Like, there are so many ways this game could go, and I don't think anyone can really predict the exact way it'll turn out.
Yeah, it's definitely looking in favor of FBK right now, and they are pushing down these side waves. They are so close to getting a triple inhib for themselves and get those double super minions spawning, but the defense is coming through here for Gas, who have a lot of wave clear available to them.
There is still a bit of time for them to wait out, as we only just now see that top lane crashing into the base with that super minion, and mid lane still isn't there quite yet. So without a Baron buff, it is a little bit more tricky to shove this in. Sure, you have the wave clear, but not having the damage reduction on your minions is so huge.
Oh man, that tower's gonna get burned. Moonlight Vigil goes through on top of the Cataclysm. They haven't got the tower though, as Cosmic Radiance goes down. Now Cannon Barrage as well. And now it is going to be Landon trying to take down the tower. X-Padre gets taken into 1v3 against Cindy Bell. And now the rest of the team is trying to engage. Cindy Bell's still alive, but it's actually Facey who goes down. That's the tank. That is a lot of the healing as well that is taken away from the fight. Cindy Bell still staying around. Deddy still staying alive. You've got Zamundo pushing the top lane, a lot of minions, and they're going to be able to take this free in here.
That's the thing when you're down. Cindy, he's going back in. You don't have to do this. Just back here. You have the 3 downed inhibs. Just go back, reset, and you'll be able to end this fight. You're trying to go for the big money play.
Landon looking to take everybody down. He wants to make a name for himself going into the finals, as that is going to be a quadra kill coming through for Landon, and is the series going to the First Blood Knights.
And what a series it was, Lemons. I don't think anybody predicted that, and there was more than enough entertainment there for every one of our viewers to be satisfied for the next week and a half. Good lord.
That was absolutely nuts, and I am so happy to have been a part of it. Just a great effort put down from both sides, honestly. Gas definitely was looking better here in the last 2 games, and I was really hoping for a Game 5, but it is FBK who slammed the door on that one and say they are ready to take on that finals matchup.
Yeah, and they are going to have to be looking at a lot this series, though, Lemons, because there was a lot of flub-ups by them this series. They had a lot of highs, but there were a lot of lows, and I mean, even in the games where they were stomping, we did say there are some noticeable kinks in the armor, and hopefully they can patch that up. But either way, though, a win is a win, and they are going to be going on to the finals.
They are indeed, and that to find out their next opponent, we will be having our other semifinal game tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. It is going to be Team versus Boomers and Zoomers, and that is going to help us decide who we get to see go up against each other in the finals. But just to talk a little bit more about this game, I just have to say, what a great effort there from Gas. They put everything they had in the last 2 games. The first 2 games were not great by them, but they woke up. They came into game 3. They dominated game number 3. And it was so back and forth for this game number 4. And that's what I was looking for. I wanted to see the effort there and the growth in the series there. And they definitely showed that.
Yeah, there was a world, a very, very real potential world, where we are going to game 5 right now, because they were leading in the tempo in all the fights. Sure, it was relatively even, but they had the objective leads. They were dictating the pace of the game. But what happened is we saw those 2 potential picks around that potential soul point for them. And then they also lost another 1 or 2 members in that mid lane. And off the back of that, they just kind of started falling behind a little more and more. They lost the tempo that they had been commanding so hard throughout the game.
They did. And I do want to focus now on our winning team, as we did have to give our little bit of consensus there for Gas, as they did show up on the day. They did make it to the semifinals, so at least something to be proud of. But looking at the side of FBK, just a great series from them. Yes, they did fall down that one game, but to bounce back in this game number 4 like they did, Landon carrying the team. It was Zamundo the first 2 games, and Landon really picking it up this time around. And I do want to ask you, where you think the MVP of this team should go?
It was really hard to say because, I mean, we mentioned it earlier ourselves that there were some very high highs, but some very low lows. Because Zamundo, he popped off in all the games they won, but we've seen how he can be a little coin flippy. And
Yeah.
then the bot lane, they were definitely solid all series long, but there were some weaknesses to be abused. Cindy Bell, though, I do feel like he was overall the most consistent, even though he had a very poor showing on that Lee Sin in game number 3, and he had some very janky level 1 starts in that game number 2. He was a very dictating force for his team wins with his pressure.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think Cindy Bell did have a good series. That Lee Sin, maybe throw that one under the rug. If you can burn it, do that. It was 0-6 on the Lee Sin, so I was feeling a little bit bad.
Yeah,
But the other performances from Cindy Bell just shone through. And it was honestly a big team effort. Yes, you did have Zamundo carrying a decent amount in the early games, did throw a little bit too. So everybody was kind of able to pull each other back.
yeah. I feel like you could make the argument for several members being a potential MVP here for First Blood Knights. So
Yeah.
take your poison, anyone.
There you go. Well, that is going to be it from us here for tonight. But thank you all for choosing us as your stream to watch for the evening. It was an absolute fun series of games. We got to game number 4, not that pivotal game 5, but maybe tomorrow if you make sure to tune in for the game starting again at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be team versus Boomers and Zoomers, and we'll catch you there.